The following podcast is for 18 and up audiences only.
I record all my notes in Comic Sans and make the font really big just so I can take it less seriously. You have a problem with that?
No, I don't have a problem.
You have a problem with my methods?
If Sly Cooper can use Comic Sans, why not you?
Sly Cooper made me into the man I am today.
I know. You wouldn't be yourself if you weren't a Comic Sans.
I'm really not. It's just like, it's funny to me. Like, I'm not obsessed with Comic Sans. It's just like, oh look, there it is. And it makes me laugh.
Are we ready to record this episode?
We're already recording, baby. Like, we're in the zone.
Hey boys, are you ready for some hot girl-on-girl action with Elisa and Demona? The two of them wrestling for dominance, having sexy pillow fights, wearing nothing but lingerie. Elisa cuffing Demona to the mattress and reading her rights. Demona grinding Elisa beneath her heels, making her suck her toes. If that hardens your Grimorum Arcanorum, then this is the episode for you. This is Girls Gone Wild, Gargoyles Edition.
It's just gals being gals.
Like in Tony Drayton's penthouse.
Yeah, and they're just like whipping each other with the towels. That's what Elisa and Demona do in this episode.
That's what they do.
It's like it's almost like it's.
This is like the most sexual episode I think they've ever done.
It's the most girl-centric sexual episode.
Yes.
But it's also there's a lot of
bondage.
There's a lot of bondage.
Like a lot of bondage.
Yeah.
There's Macbeth and Demona, who, speaking of, aren't we glad that after City of Stone we get another episode with Macbeth and Demona? Like,
yeah.
Who needs other characters? We have
funny.
these two. We're
Funny.
happy with them. We don't need anyone else.
They just got done with like the biggest writing project in regards to these two characters, and they had so much fun doing it. Where it's like, so what do you want to do next? They're like, damn, I really want to do more with Demona.
Like, we liked it so much.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that we're back at the same well. Like, I do wonder if this episode was intended to directly follow City of Stone, or if like other episodes were meant to be first. I don't know.
They might have done it directly after City of Stone because they had all the
actors and everything.
Yeah.
Available to just keep recording. Because like we're gonna have a gap after this.
You don't need to air it at the.
Well, except as you might recall, these episodes were coming out like the moment an episode was finished. It was pretty much hitting the air. By the end of the season, and like a lot of seasons got aired incomplete the first time, and we only saw the complete episode in reruns. So, yeah, they kind of did.
The season of chaos.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the important thing is that they tried.
They did try. Like, if the one fault I have against this episode is I just think there should be a few in between it and City of Stone. That's all.
I have one other fault with this episode, but we'll get to that.
Okay, because I really don't have any others. I fucking loved this episode.
I love this episode too, but I have one issue. And we'll get to that.
Okay, alright. So, should we just, like, jump into the water here? That is high noon.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, by the way, welcome to the Loincloth Hour, a podcast where three queer pals talk about cartoons, in this case, gargoyles, and we're covering the episode High Noon.
Yes.
And I am your host, Manicorn.
I'm Huron.
I'm Sid. So, previously on, we get no context for City of Stone. It's all Coldstone.
It's just Coldstone's face flying at us, like, immediately, like, with, like, insane anime background.
It's like...
it's me!
Remember
me!
So, it's just, like, a bunch of clips of, like, Coldstone fighting with himself, debating whether he wants to fuck or destroy Goliath. He's not the first to face this dilemma, and he shall not be the last.
No.
So nothing to do with City of Stone in this previously on. All the clips are from Legion, which is like one of the worst episodes
So
that we covered
we
previously.
see Coldstone showing his taint. We see him getting felt up by Hudson. We see everyone getting tentacle raped inside a computer. All those great Legion moments.
It's funny because like this only entails like one specific subplot throughout this episode that only makes itself like present at the very end.
So the main reason why that happened, by the way, because Greg has actually spoken out about this.
Really?
Yes, is by this point in the show, he was just getting tons and tons of fan complaints about him spoiling the episode in the previously ons. So he decided from this point on, he's only going to do previously ons that aren't spoilery. And because this episode opens on Coldstone, it's not spoilery to have a bunch of Coldstone flashbacks.
So if he'd shown footage of like from City of Stone, then viewers would know that Demona and Macbeth would somehow factor in.
Right, which is supposed to be a twist that the cop is Demona.
But that's revealed like before the first commercial break.
Well, it wasn't originally, but that's another part I'll get to later.
Okay.
Wow, that's like a whole can of worms right there.
You went in depth on this one.
That is like Greg doesn't know how to make a previously on, is what that tells me.
Yeah, like it has to catch the viewer up. Like if you're not doing that, then there's no point in doing.
Like it's just kind of the previously on is not. I see the problem. He's looking at it as it's a component to like the plot of the mystery of the episode we're watching, and by showing something that misdirects what the viewer's expectations are, he thinks he's playing in tune with the plot of the episode. But the problem is, the previously on is not supposed to do that. It's supposed to catch you up as to what previously happened.
So then you can fully enjoy the episode you're about to watch, even if you missed previous episodes.
Exactly.
So, he does go into depth about that as well.
Oh no.
And one of the things this was a thing where he was going over the original outline, and one of the main things that was changed was making sure that everything that he was originally going to put in the previously on got mentioned in dialogue at some point during the episode.
So, that's good. Okay. So, like, at least he gave it some thought.
Yes.
At least. It's up to our interpretation if it worked or not. But he attempted. There was an attempt.
But, yeah. So things like City of Stone was brought up. And when they're like, oh, they must have escaped from the Weird Sisters.
Mm-hmm.
But
even that, like,
mirror.
if you don't know who the Weird Sisters are, then, like, how much will that really help you?
Yeah.
Like
to be fair,
who are the Weird Sisters? Like, what would that mean to a normal person watching?
To be fair, would a previously on segment help you understand who the Weird Sisters are?
It would. You'd at least know what they look like. Okay, they're three weird sisters. Got it. They're magical. I don't fucking know.
Demona and Macbeth were kidnapped by the Weird Sisters, and the Weird Sisters have a role to play that is ongoing, and it's mentioned, but the problem is, like, we don't get a summarization as to, like, what their point of, like, you know, we can delve into this for, like, the whole episode.
Like,
I'm gonna move on.
Like, Dark Girls has reached the point where its own continuity has become, like, too complicated to easily be recapped, so, like, that's the other problem that they're not struggling with.
So we open up with clouds dissipating and revealing a title card in front of yet another full moon. Mm-hmm. It's a very interesting, like, kind of like it like opens up like a portal, like almost like we're gonna be seeing some more of that this episode.
Portals.
So yeah, no, I mean.
Now we're playing Portals.
Yeah, have you ever played that game?
No.
So panning down, we see a fantasy tech city landscape. It's gorgeous. I recommend pausing this scene and like making these frames your desktop wallpaper. But this is essentially Coldstone's virtual core or whatever. We pan up to the top of a castle where we see Demona, Coldstone's female personality. She sees a shadow. It is Othello, Coldstone's male personality.
The himbo personality.
Yeah. He approaches her and gives to her what looks like not flowers, but grain of some sorts.
They're flowers. It's Heather.
Is Heather a flower?
Yes.
It's found.
I paused and I looked at the plant for a while. Oh, Scotland.
Scottish moors.
You know what?
No, if you look at pictures of Heather, they're really pretty.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like Heather a lot.
I'm sure.
And white Heather in particular yes, the color that was there, symbolizes good luck, admiration, but most importantly, protection.
Oh.
This has depth.
I thought about looking up the flowers, but I didn't bother. I'm glad you did.
I learned something new.
In the language of flowers, you're like the Akio Tori.
Ooh.
Our
God.
lieutenant in Wakaba right now.
So he says it's heather, and the hills beyond are covered with their bloom. I did it.
Good job.
So, it's good to see these two are doing alright. She happily takes the heather in her hands, but takes notice that there is no scent to the heather, pointing out the fact that it is not real, like everything else in their world. Othello responds with, "It's true this world has no substance, but it also has nothing that can separate us." So they're both just kind of like, yeah, it's okay, you're beautiful, baby. But then suddenly Iago soars over them, which, you know, I guess the virus didn't kill any of them. Like,
Yeah, okay, because we saw Iago being dragged into it last time, right?
I thought he was dead!
Like, the last episode, Legion pretty much told us he was dead. And that just the end of that episode was just like Othello and Desdemona like flying above, but it seemed to be like eventually they would die too, and they sort of like made their peace with dying together.
So
But no, they're all fine.
Coldstone again is, you know, I can't get into the dissociative identity like coding enough, but like they do that thing where they're like, yeah, there's a third evil personality that's lurking about.
Yeah, and it's the evil queer personality. We're not gay. It's that other personality.
I don't know.
It's the gay one, not us.
Is Iago gay?
Iago is basically Jafar from Aladdin.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
No.
Even if he has the hots for Desdemona, like Jafar had the hots for Jasmine, it doesn't matter if you're that queer-coded, you're still gay anyway.
Yeah.
Those are the rules. Those are the rules of Disney and queerness.
Yeah, it's like a later comment in the episode I'm going to talk about later.
Every 90s Disney villain?
Yes,
Yeah,
all of them.
pretty much. That's why we love the 90s Disney villains the most. Like, they because they were gay. They had it going on. So, Othello angrily is like, why won't he leave us in peace? But Desdemona is just like, okay, it's okay, baby, just let him work. He no longer has the power to come between us.
I like that they're just like annoyed by him, and like it's like just a fly buzzing around. Like, oh my god. I also, for this part, I wrote down that Othello and Desdemona have just been having like the kinkiest cyber sex like 24/7.
like
that's all
I
they've
just
been
think
doing.
about the fact that, like, you know, all the gargoyles are like trying to bring him back, but like on the inside, like, no, there's a lot of like,
He just wants to stay and fuck himself, basically.
pretty much, like, you know, I mean, he's
Themself.
Yeah.
Whatever.
no, I was just thinking about that too, but there's like a number of ways you can refer to Coldstone. Coldstone is just gender fluidity incarnate. So Iago soars off into the night sky, and the moon begins to glitch, and briefly show like you know, technological like sort of computer modules.
Microchip.
I thought that was so cool looking.
Yeah.
When that happened.
Yeah, and no, it was a good effect. Like, I think that's like a good, like, you know, gif for the episode.
Yeah.
So we fade out to the real world. We see an IRL still motionless Coldstone that Lexington is tinkering with, trying to make operational again as Goliath oversees nearby. Now, I know how that sounds. Like, he's fondling Coldstone and Goliath is watching it happen.
Would you like to see what I wrote down for this?
Can I add something quickly
Yes,
slightly
you can
before
go
that?
ahead.
So the transition is the first of many insane transitions in this episode, because this time it transitions from the moon into becoming Coldstone's eye, because the eye is the
Yeah, that was really good.
That
I forgot
was
to take
cool.
notes on that. I'm glad you did.
Yes, no.
So I wrote, meanwhile, Lexington is booting Coldstone up to use as a sex toy for Goliath. Not the first time for either of them.
Well, the thing about Coldstone, though, I thought we already established this. Like, he's a sex toy right now.
Yeah,
We've just
but
been,
okay.
Hudson's been blowing his loads in it,
They've
dude.
all been blowing their loads into Coldstone, but Goliath wants like an active, like he wants like hip thrust action and like gyration.
He wants,
and
what is this, like the Holy Mountain when they make like all the corpses animatronic and like the coffins?
What?
The Holy Mountain.
Yeah, pretty much.
What is the Holy Mountain?
Oh god, you didn't watch that
it's a
with us. I
movie.
remember that now.
It's a very fucked up movie.
Oh,
It's my favorite movie.
It's deeply disturbing.
Not really.
It's also really good.
It's beautiful. Like, okay. So, then off to the side, and this is probably my favorite part of the episode. I'm just gonna say this now. We hear Hudson, who is reading, with a newspaper in his hand, and Broadway at his side peering over his shoulder. He slowly manages to read out the words, "The city honored Rosario Sanchez and Peter Choi, who last week pulled a 5-year-old out from the lake in Central Park," and then he does like a slight adjustment to try and understand the next word.
It's a tough one.
Resuscitated him, but he gets it out.
He did.
He's come such a long way. I'm so proud of him.
I just love that we're seeing them practice reading together and that we're following up on that plot thread. And like they're doing it in front of everyone else. Like they're over their shame over it and they're just working on like bettering themselves. So it's nice.
Yeah, I think Brooklyn's there too, holding a newspaper or something like that.
Yeah, I think he's reading like the Daily Tattler probably.
He's probably
You know
just
what I'm
looking at the
saying?
comics on the back of the newspaper, let's be honest.
He's probably reading like the
The
it has,
Garfield.
like, a Playboy hidden inside the
He's
newspaper.
probably reading the Ask.
Ask Greg.
No, well maybe, but no.
Wilbur's strip, Ask
Yes,
Wendy.
Ask Wendy.
From Mary
Ask-
Worth.
Sure,
From-
that's definitely what I was going for.
From Mary Worth, the thing that we're now trying to bring up every episode of this show. So
I wasn't trying to bring up Mary Worth.
I hope that listeners appreciate how much we love Mary Worth and aren't just deeply confused every time we bring it up now.
It's a good comic. I mean,
But you know, just the generic version of those advice columns.
Yeah.
It's Ask Something, and I can never remember what it's called.
I don't know who the real one is. But Ask Wendy.
can't wait
is
for
the best.
our April Fool's episode where we just do an
Do a Mary
episode of
Worth
Mary Worth.
Don't give it away.
I'm editing this out later. Like, I'm throwing it out there, man. That's gonna have to happen.
We better record it soon.
Yeah, that's true. It's like March 20th almost. So he then displays the paper next to Broadway, who continues where he left off. When asked about their heroic act, the teenagers agreed it was the rig hid, and then off to the side we hear Elisa finish the sentence, "the right thing to do." I'll just say this, I know a lot happens in this episode, but this is the most precious thing I've ever seen. Oh, this is just notes of me, like, being a fanboy.
This whole scene is like so domestic though, and it's nice
so
to like
cute.
see them. Just we've had just Demona and Macbeth angst for 4 episodes.
I
So
know.
it's nice to just see the gang like chilling a little bit and having a
It
nice
shows
little day.
Jeffrey Robbins' reading lessons with Hudson has been paying off. I put in parentheses, we need more fanfic of those old men treating each other right. Crying
like,
face.
Hey Hudson, I wrote some words on my dick. Please.
I mean, I was thinking, yeah, sure, let's go with that. And then, anyways, Broadway happily greets Elisa, helping her with the books she's bringing up to the clock tower, asking her, how did you know that? What they said? Were you there? And Elisa's like, no, but choosing to save the child took real courage, and that always feels right. And then Broadway's just like, I guess you do that all the time, huh? And she's like, I'm no hero, I just do my job.
She's so cool.
I am woman, hear me roar. She yawns and brushes Broadway to the side, making her way across the clock tower. And my job for tonight is over. All I want to do is hit the sack. And then Hudson scratches his beard off to the side in response, and he's like, why would you want to hit a sack? And then Brooklyn, with his knowledge of, the cool modern hip lingo, is like, she means she's tired and wants to sleep. Hudson's just like, why didn't she say so? And then Brooklyn just like
He just
facepalms.
rolls his eyes. He's like, oldies, am I right?
Alright, so we need to count how many times they mentioned that Elisa works night shift this episode.
She is tired.
Okay,
Every scene she's in.
I know.
She's exhausted.
Oh, this is an Elisa episode.
but like, so the reason why they continually bring up night shift the entire episode is because apparently a lot of the fans who were writing in were constantly like, well, she works during the day and she hangs out with the gargoyles at night. When does she sleep? And he's like, okay, I'm going to make sure everyone knows she works night shift
So
now.
Greg is that petty bitch who's like, oh, you don't get this? Let me just slam it over your head like 100 times. Okay.
That's what started this episode.
I've done things like that. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah, no, for sure. She informs Lexington that she's got more books for him on computer viruses, inquiring about his progress with Coldstone. Lexington explains that the virus has wiped his programming clean. Nothing's broken, but nothing's working either. So pretty much Coldstone is in a comatose state of, like, balance right now. Like, it's a blank slate. Apparently even the virus is gone. But Goliath's like, but the 3 gargoyle souls were put there by magic, not programming. And Lexington's just like, yeah, they're still in there likely. If only I can devise a simple operating program. That's SOP for the cool kids.
He's so cool.
Yeah, he doesn't actually say that. But...
Did you notice during this scene that you can see his monitor and he's typing various passwords into it?
Yes.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, I have them written down.
Okay, what were they?
So the ones I caught were Othello, Desdemona, Iago, and Wiseman.
Uh-huh. A little tidbit for the fans there.
What, is Wiseman also one of the personalities in Coldstone?
He is the secret fourth personality.
Oh my god.
That is also lurking.
Like, I just can't wait for, like, Coldstone to, like, interrupt the episode and just explain, like, the continuity of, like, whatever plotline is happening.
He just faces directly to the camera and is like, Elisa works night shift. And then just moves on to something else.
Yes! that's how I see it. Alright, so... Elisa reassures Lexington. He's like, yeah, you got this. And then she just, like, kind of, like, tiredly waves them off. She's, like, trying to make her way home so she can sleep. And the sun's also rising, and Goliath's like, yeah, as do we. You know, referring to, like, they also, it's time for them to sleep.
They gotta turn in.
That's why she's, like, such bros with the gargoyles, because, like, they're both, like, nocturnal.
They're in sync.
Mm-hmm.
Like, their
menstrual cycles.
Yes, their men's times.
We,
Exactly.
They all take their positions on the clock tower and turn to stone for the day. We then pan down to Elisa, who is exiting the building, accompanied with Officer Morgan. Now, I keep forgetting this, but Officer Morgan is voiced by Keith David, right?
Yes, it's Goliath. So
cool.
he gets to date Elisa no matter what character he's in.
like I just love.
Time.
I think the back and forth with Morgan and Elisa this episode is so sweet, and it's just like
it's one of the high points of the episode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Officer Morgan, who of course we've previously also seen wearing nothing but a towel.
Oh yeah.
Important to bring that.
No, I mean Officer
Great
Morgan
body.
can get it.
Elisa's seen that because she stormed in
He's
that
like
time.
he's like this good old. He's one of them good old boys, you know. Like he's like a father figure.
I don't know about that. I think maybe he's a daddy to some.
I could say the
some.
daddy
He could be a daddy.
to some.
Not me, but someone.
She lets out a few slow yawns as she's like exiting the building with Officer Morgan, and Officer Morgan's just like, you know, same though. Like either my beat's getting longer or I'm getting older. And then they like, I kind of summarize this scene a little. I don't like obviously iterate exactly what they say. They just kind of pat each other on the shoulders and are just like, later fam.
Interesting factoid about Officer Morgan, but did you know that Morgan was originally one of the names considered for Elisa's character? So they kind of transposed that into like his own person.
Wow, that's really
Fascinating.
it's cool. They were like, she should be Morgan. They're like, no, Morgan's Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan's
She's Elisa.
Morgan.
And they're like, oh, okay, I got you. So that's a fascinating story. Right next to her, as she's walking down the stairs, there's a red-headed police officer escorting a rather large and robust criminal in a purple jacket with a long-ass Dracula-looking neck sleeve and a green baseball hat.
It's like a trucker cat.
I've never seen him look more, like, clownish.
Okay, so I wrote down several notes just on his outfit. But okay, like it's like you said, it's like a cool jacket with like the collar popped, the trucker cap, but he's also wearing like lime green yoga pants. underneath this. Like, it's the kind of outfit like that clashes so bad. Like, you had to have done it on purpose. Like, this is what they think a thug looks like. And I do think they went shopping specifically for this outfit.
I thought they were just like baggy. I thought they were just like baggy green pants, and I didn't even notice they were yoga pants.
They look tight on him. Like, that's the impression I received.
It's like, don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, anyways, this redheaded police officer woman and Elisa briefly exchange like eye contact glances. And it's funny that she notices her and not like the fashion atrocity she's escorting.
Well, I mean, I think that's the point of the fashion atrocity, is to make sure that no one remembers their faces.
That's good.
Maybe that's a good point. Curious, Elisa returns up the stairs and asks Morgan if he knows that badge, as she looks familiar. Morgan has no clue, but says that it's just another rookie, as who else would cuff a guy that big with his hands in front of him?
So Morgan noticed the bigness of the man.
So...
You can't see him, but Sid just turned his head and it's just like looking at me. Like, why?
So
Why did you say that?
No, I'm smiling. Like, I don't know what he's talking about. I'm glad he said it.
I have a direct quote from Greg on this scene that I felt needed to be stated.
Okay.
Because it's very interesting. So he starts off with, I like Elisa's line where Brooklyn asks her if she recognized the woman with Macbeth. She seemed familiar. Think about this for a second. If this were real life and not a cartoon, do you think she'd recognize Demona and Dominique?
No.
And yet, I completely buy that Elisa recognized something in there. There's a strange nega intimacy between Elisa and Demona, which is one of the sick reasons why I created Delilah later.
Oh yeah. I remember who Delilah was.
Yeah. So I just thought that
that's very interesting.
The fact that Greg feels there's a strange nega intimacy between them.
Nega intimacy?
That was his word. Exactly.
I literally go into it. I go into it later in my notes, but they want to hate fuck each other.
They want to hate fuck.
Okay, Demona wants to hate fuck Elisa because it's like a weird projected like thing where she thinks like Elisa has stolen like what was once hers, and then like Elisa would literally hate fuck Demona for Goliath if she had to, because she is that good of a partner.
But, okay, I like that in this case, like, Demona sees Elisa as stealing her man, but then instead of, like, fucking Goliath back to, like, show that she's the better woman, she goes straight to the source instead. It's like, okay, well, I'll fuck Elisa then.
I think Demona...
That's how I do business!
Honestly, I know Demona's always trying to, like, kill them, but I always feel like she really doesn't register that once she kills them, she's not gonna have shit to do.
She's gonna be so bored.
She's gonna be so bored. She's actually gonna, like, be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have done it that soon. Okay, so, suspicious. Elisa's like, yeah, I should probably let her know that she's not doing the thing right. And then Morgan's like, and then go home, before waving her off. Elisa tries to call attention to the rookie, who then begins to, like, quicken her pacing, and then gradually
they just start running.
They just literally start running. They start to try to outrun her, and she brings her, like, handcuff fashion atrocity with her up the stairs. Elisa chases them, leading to a room labeled the squad room, where, like, obviously just the normal, like, police department is working. And then Elisa loses them there, and she's like, yeah, this is weird.
I was hoping she'd go back into the men's locker room.
She likes to get any opportunity to make, like, men uncomfortable. Like, she loves it.
She's a queen.
She's like the annoying big sister everywhere she goes. Then she turns around and sees the back door leading up to the clock tower is open. Leading up to the clock. And then she's like, oh no, very weird and very bad. She makes her way back up the clock tower and finds, like, the pair ditched their, like, the handcuffs and the cap that the guy wore, and it's like, I'm like, what, is she gonna, like, start finding more clothes as she goes along? Like, they just stripped butt-ass naked.
Okay, but when she does see him, he's wearing his regular outfit, which there's no way in hell that big trench coat would fit under what he was wearing. How did that work?
There's like several questions I have about how they make anything.
Doesn't make any sense.
work. Anyways, okay, but it does. There's like a thing later. Maybe that might explain it. But maybe
an enchantment is that word.
Yeah, like an enchantment. The weird sisters are like, oh, let's make Macbeth like a little fashion disaster.
In that case, why get rid of the clothes?
This is the one thing.
Oh, he's back in action now. Let me just let her know that it's him and not like someone else. Let's get rid of the fashion disaster as soon as possible, please.
I wish they'd kept it. I thought he looked amazing.
So Elisa holsters her pistol and is ambushed in the clock tower by a very Austin Powers demeanored Macbeth who's got like his teeth sticking out when he's like...
Okay, they animate his teeth, like individual teeth in his mouth, which they don't usually do on the show. So it just looks very weird.
He looks like a kind of like... I don't know what it is. He doesn't look right.
No, he looks like weirdly off model.
He looks like a pervert.
Yeah, it was like a weird like rape face, and he's just like, hello.
Yeah,
I'm here to bite you.
They were constantly over animating in this episode, which is a weird issue to have.
Because the A team is on this one, so
yeah,
every little thing they do has to be like that, like 10,000 frames of animation.
Yeah.
Okay, so Elisa is like being like kind of like manhandled by Macbeth right now, and she's like, "Oh, you and your little friend won't get away with this."
Little friend. And your little dog too.
Macbeth then tosses her into the wall and knocks her out.
So
and
did you watch this episode on Disney Plus?
Yeah,
I did.
So when they had that scene, did you see Elisa make the impact on the wall and then slide down?
Yeah.
Because I read online that sometimes they edit that part out.
That was in like the 2000s airings.
So they've restored it then.
As far as I know, Disney Plus has all scenes intact.
Cool. I just wanted to ask.
So, Elisa's like knocked out now. Macbeth is just like sweet dreams detective. Like, why is he so creepy? This whole...
I don't know.
He's like a creepy like old man that broke into like the clock tower and has like muscles.
But like
Clearly...
this whole episode is very sexually charged.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Every character is super horny all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, for sure. We fade out to Macbeth in his airship with his female associate, who's obviously female Demona. She's like bitching to Macbeth about not letting her kill Elisa and the gargoyles.
She just wanted to kill them.
Macbeth's like, there's no honor in attacking them while they're helpless. Demona's like, that's stupid. You're stupid. Macbeth's like, oh my god, what is your deal? Why are you complaining so much? We have them. We got them. No one caught us. Like, lighten up, girl.
At some point in this conversation, Demona also takes her police hat off, and like her immense 80s hair is just like... it
She's like, she looks like Cyndi Lauper.
I don't
She's
know
gorgeous.
how she fit it all. It's amazing.
It's here where I'm like, okay, yeah, no one saw the giant fucking airship abducting them in broad fucking New York daylight. Like, I don't think that was, like, explained.
That is
It's
explained
only
later.
explained at the very, very end.
Yeah, like, what? She's like,
I was like, how the fuck does anyone not see them?
But they actually do explicitly explain how they pulled this off later.
Yeah, that was a weird scene. So Elisa wakes up in the clock tower, like, 8 hours later. She did not go home afterwards, like Morgan said, but she did get her rest finally, sorta. She goes into mommy mode and checks up on all her stone boys, but they're all present and accounted for. But then she remembers Coldstone is also a stone boy. She goes to check on him, but he's missing. She's like, okay, how the hell did they do that? It's not like they could have just walked him out the door Weekend at Bernie's style. Which is a good question, again, because again, airship how? Like, is there a cloaking ray or some shit? I wonder, like Wonder Woman's invisible ship or Mermaid Man's invisible boatmobile? Like, do pedestrians just look up and they see they're just giant assholes flying across the sky or something? They're just floating?
It's a question.
Okay, so yeah, no, Elise is like, whatever, it'll be sunset soon. My questions will be answered when the boys wake up. We pan over to Macbeth and Demona, back at Macbeth's new mansion, because of course
Is this his third castle?
Yeah.
Or is it?
Yeah,
does he
the old
keep
one got
rebuilding the same
wrecked.
one?
So
Is it the same one?
it looks like he has an exact same model. Like the show writers just forgot that his original mansion. Like
Because later on we see rooms and like these are the same rooms too that we've seen before.
Yeah,
So,
Wasn't his castle left intact at the end of Lighthouse?
no, it was like on fire and like he was
well,
flying
the
off.
first time there was a fire.
He was
the
shaking
second
his
time,
fist flying
there were, like,
off.
lasers
No.
and stuff.
Yes, he
That-
was.
That was the first time.
That was the first time.
The second time, though, is what I'm saying.
I don't even
It was
remember the second time. It happened like when was the second time?
Lighthouse in the Sea of Time. He just lets them go at the end when he realizes that the
But
scrolls are.
there was damage. I feel like we saw significant damage to the castle.
There was damage to the castle, but like nothing that wasn't repairable.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I guess Macbeth's just got like mad insurance policies.
He better.
When you live as long as he has,
You know how to fix a castle.
yeah, you know how to fix a castle. Well, that's probably what his.
Now I
two,
can just like imagine
goons
him
have
like
been
becoming a
doing.
macho man and just
Chloe
building the
and other
castle.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, so Demona's just like looking out the window at sunset, and Macbeth's just like, yeah, you know, you don't need to wait till sunset. You're still thinking like a gargoyle. And Demona's like, I am a gargoyle. Although this form does prove useful at times, like okay.
It seemed like the way she said that line was like, although I do have sex in this form. And
She's like,
very
you can
nice.
finally fuck me without like your penis being crushed by my vagina.
And then you can feel yourself penetrating me, and you feel
you
the
can
penetration
feel
in
yourself going into my vagina.
in your magical vagina that you
and
will
you
have
are
when
fucking
you fuck
your
me.
own vagina,
The
Macbeth.
vagina you will feel.
You have my
for the
vagina,
first
and I
time,
have your penis.
Not the last time.
I have your penis, Macbeth.
And I will
I'm
also
gonna feel it
your
when
penis
you're
going to
when you're
myself.
fucking your pool
Balls deep,
boys
pumping,
and your
thrusting.
players you got hanging around this fucking
Moment of
mansion.
climax, the screaming, all of it.
Screaming.
The second that must be amazing because you feel twice as much. You feel twice as much.
Dude, I need me a freak like that. I want to feel myself getting fucked by myself. So-
That would be amazing.
oh my god.
I feel like technology, like we're almost there.
So, Macbeth's just like, whatever, let's get on with this. Put the dick in now. I mean disc.
Where's the dick?
Where's the dick?
Where's the dick?
Demona's like, nah, fam, he doesn't know you, and he definitely doesn't know me when I'm all human and shit. The sun sets, and she's just like, it begins. She starts to turn all blue and gargoyle-y, and then she starts like writhing and yowling, and Macbeth is also writhing and yowling. They're both just like grunting and groaning and feeling this like metaphysical, painful like change in Demona's body happen. Even their yells are in sync. Like it's
Yeah.
actually really cool.
It feels very intimate, also.
Like it almost feels like they're like forcibly having sex with each other, and neither of them likes it, but like they're enduring it.
I think after this, Macbeth asks if it always hurts that much.
Yeah.
Too, and it reminded me of the first X-Men movie where Rogue asked Wolverine if it hurt, and he says every time, whenever he pops his claws.
Oh my god. It was like the edgiest thing ever.
Yeah.
No, that's a good line.
I know.
How-
It's still edgy.
It's a good edgy line, the
I-
best kind of line.
I didn't say it wasn't good. I just said it was edgy.
Well,
Being edgy
Wolverine.
makes it better.
Wolverine is an edgy character, and there is a lot of weight to what he said, but I mean, you know, there's still that brood there. Anyways, like when she's done transforming, Demona flexes and makes like a banshee hyena yell. It's definitely a stock animal sound, but like it works for her. Macbeth's like, why the fuck does that hurt so much? I thought you said Puck gave like this to you as a gift. Demona's like, LeMayo, yeah, but that little shit always has some fucked up spin to his gifts.
He's a freak.
I mean, that's pretty much what she says.
Yeah. I would like
but-
to just discuss the wings coming out for a moment.
Go ahead.
Because, like, holy shoot, like, you see her hands, like, physically change shape.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Her legs, like, transform, and it's all gorgeously animated.
Oh, it's impressive.
And looks really painful.
Like, yeah, oh, yeah.
Not quite as much as her next transformation will, but that's a different story. Next
Yeah.
transformation looks super painful.
It's just, eternity is suffering for when you're Demona.
I have to point out one other line she has. When she says that parts gift is always for the price, that she then says, "My only consolation is that our magical link allows you to suffer as well."
Yeah, my notes say here, she's like, hey, I mean, you get to suffer with me, so that makes me happy. Hee 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 hee.
Such a sadist.
She doesn't,
a sadist dom.
like, she does, in my mind at least, like an evil giggle of delight, like, ooh woo, all the men I fucked over for my own mistakes are suffering for it, ooh woo. And then, he just doesn't care about that. He's like, yeah, whatever. And then gives her a fucking floppy disk to insert into Coldstone's butthole.
Oh my god!
Or his chest cavity, but whatever, let's be honest, it's his butthole
Sorry, I
there.
wasn't prepared for that one.
Where else is it gonna go, damn it?
Exactly, there's a slot right there.
Like-
Thanatos put it in.
I just want like a parody of that scene where like, okay, but where's Coldstone's like insertion? And then like Macbeth's like,
They
well,
turn
you
it
know
around.
where it is.
He's all cheeked up.
And then things happen.
Also, I would like to point out that Macbeth calls Puck in the scene a changeling.
Oh
Which
yeah.
does not seem correct to me, but that's just me.
Is that correct?
So changeling is a fairy that replaces a baby.
Right. But in this case, it wasn't a baby.
He didn't.
Or he didn't really replace anyone. But it's sort of correct.
That's sort of correct, I guess.
Yeah.
I thought it meant changeling as in the fact that he can change into whatever he
Well, I'm pretty
wants.
sure that's what they
That
meant.
could also work.
But I'm pretty sure that's not what a changeling is.
Oh, well, I think if this show uses the word changeling, I would think it would be purposeful. Just they know what a changeling is, these people.
Yeah.
Changeling definition.
It's like a fairy term for those.
It is a fairy
A
term.
child. Okay, what is meant by changeling? A child secretly engaged for another in infancy.
Exchange.
Oh, that's
Yeah, so like
yeah,
if,
that's
if
that's
a
like
kid grew up gay in the Middle Ages, people
That's-
say, "Oh, well, he's not a human; he's a fairy that was exchanged for our real son back when he was a kid."
like
Yeah.
So
there's
that's, you know.
there's like
Autistic.
there's a folklore meaning and there's a historical meaning, and the folklore is like the changeling like takes children. Yeah, no, okay, I see what you're talking about. So yeah, I was thinking more of the historical meaning of like it's like when a child is swapped out for another and they just act like it's the same child.
Like the Prince and the Pauper.
Or like the Changeling, the movie.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
There's like two movies. One's a horror movie, one's a drama.
Which
Eh.
is better?
The horror movie.
Nice.
So, like no contest, it was the horror movie. Okay, so whatchamacallit? So we're in the Matrix now, y'all. There's like a giant glowing wormhole in the sky where Othello and Desdemona are. Oh, wait. Othello and Desdemona are in their virtual world. They're on top of their tower fucking, and then suddenly a giant glowing wormhole opens up in the sky. Othello's like, what the fuck? And Desdemona's like, oh, it's a portal. Where's it coming from?
She wants to enter holes. All kinds of
She's
holes.
powerful. Iago swoops over them then and is just like, whatever, y'all, I'm booking it, and flies into it.
He YOLOs out of there.
Yeah, and Desdemona's like, should we do that too? And Othello's like, nah. And then they just start fucking on top of the tower.
And this conversation will basically be repeated like 5 times per episode.
It's funny. Iago wakes up in the physical form of Coldstone now and recognizes Demona, and just he reminds me of Lucius Malfoy in this scene a little. I don't know what
the way he says sister.
I'm attracted to like the Iago personality in the Coldstone's body.
Because it's still like Michael Dorn's voice, but it's like he has that slightly effeminate like mannerism. to
Yeah.
him, and like the evilness.
Uh-huh,
So
no,
it's
yeah,
fine,
you're right.
yeah.
It is like queer coded, and just because of that fact. And yeah, no, I do like. No, I think I think all three of them I've just kind of like grown on to. Like, yeah, no, you three are just, you got your own crazy like disassociative personality shit going on.
And like something about his face too.
Oh yeah, like the one red eye.
You know that Iago is in there, like just from the face.
Just from the face, just from the red eye. I like how they do that. Like, there's some things I wish they did more of with Coldstone. Like, well, I mean, granted, they do plenty of it in this show. Anyways, so he wakes up and sees Demona, and he's like,
Ah, sister.
and Demona's like, hey, bro, how you feeling? And Iago's just kind of like,
Vengeful.
well, his eye is like red, and he's like flashing his like vampire teeth. He's scary, but like in a super hot way.
This is gay culture.
And then we fade to
This
commercial.
is venge.
Okay, so while we're between acts, I'm going to actually discuss. So originally, the theft was supposed to be in Act 2. And
The theft of Coldstone?
of Coldstone.
Okay.
Which, according to Greg, was the same issue that happened with the mirror, where the theft of the titular mirror wasn't originally until Act 2. And I just thought that was interesting, because as we know in the final episode, it literally opens up with the theft.
Yeah, so what would have happened in Act 1 originally?
Not really sure, because he just mentions it offhandedly while he was discussing this episode.
Okay.
But yeah, so it looks like not too much was rewritten in this one. They just stuffed a good chunk of Act 2 into Act 1.
Right.
In order to make sure that something important was happening in Act 1.
Yeah, a lot happened in Act 1.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because, like, if the commercial cut had been before the theft, like, there hadn't been any conflict yet in the episode.
Right.
So, yeah, I see what happened there. It's just like a matter of, no, we decided to do that a little earlier.
Yep. So when we come back, we're back to the gargoyles, the clock tower, and everybody has questions. How did Macbeth get away from the weird sisters? How did he find them? Who was that hottie with him? Who is she? Why did they steal Coldstone? And how did they do it without anyone noticing?
I can't believe she did it again.
She's gonna do it again in this episode,
She
too.
loves being dramatic. Like, oh, who's this mysterious woman in the shadows? It's Demona.
She's
so
lives
funny.
for it. Elisa says she thinks she recognized the sexy redhead with Macbeth, but she can't quite place her. So basically, the gargoyles all decide to go and just gangbang Macbeth. And Elisa's like, oh, well, I want to go with you, but I have to go back on duty in half an hour. And she points at her watch, like, really emphatically for some reason. And Goliath's just like, oh, you sweet summer child. Like, we don't want you around when we rend him limb from limb anyway. So you can just stay here. It's fine. We'll handle it. We're all big men. It's not like we're all gonna get, like, sexually captured and put into bondage while you're not watching us. We'll be fine.
That's funny.
And she's like, okay. So they all fly out. Like, even Hudson and Bronx are going along with them for once, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
They get to Macbeth's castle. They
Moon
like
transition.
Huh?
It transitions
yes.
by zooming in on the moon.
That was
and just
cool
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
So
We
many
see
good
the
transitions.
massive full moon as we always do. And so when they get to Macbeth's castle, this part reminded me so much of the fan fiction that Hieron and I have.
Yeah,
watched.
I was thinking of that same fan fiction.
Capture competition, which is about the gargoyles getting to a place that's like full of like sexy traps, and they all sort of like get caught like one by one, and like until like they're all, you know. You should read Capture Competition, everyone.
It's a
5
good-
parts. It's on my For Affinity. It's hot as hell, in my opinion.
It's
as
very-
the
it's
biased
very-
author of it, but
As a roommate and co-host of The Biased Author, I can also vouch for it that it's worth reading.
I'll vouch for it too as the other biased author.
yes. So they're all just sort of going around, like, they keep saying, like, good job, Lex, like, bypassing that alarm, and Lex is like, yeah, but it was too easy. And Hudson's like, oh, maybe it's full of, like, traps that'll strip us all, like, naked and do evil things to us. And Goliath's like, well, in that case, we should all split up so we can all be captured more easily. So they split into 3 groups, like Scooby-Doo style.
It's funny.
It's Brooklyn and Bronx, and then Hudson and Broadway, and then Lex lurks out because he gets Goliath all to himself.
Yes.
So the first thing, we follow Goliath and Lex for a little bit, and first thing Lex notices that the cameras are online, so he knows that Macbeth knows that they're here.
He knows that they know that he knows.
Yes, but they all know that the other one knows.
Wow.
And Goliath's like, okay, well, that means he's in the control room then, and probably jacking off while he's watching us. So let's just go there and kill him. So they go, but when they show up, it's empty. So Goliath's like, okay, let's try somewhere else. He turns away, but then Lex basically grabs, like, Goliath's ass, and is did you notice, like, the little, like, grin he had at, like, getting to touch Goliath?
I
don't know
Lexington.
if the animators slipped that in, or, like, what's going on, but Lex is very happy to touch Goliath in this whole episode.
We've talked about it before, and I think it's just one of those moments where it's like, yeah, Lexington would, like he is attracted to Goliath.
And I feel like he really enjoys, like, being in charge of Goliath. Like, he gets to tell Goliath what to do for a good chunk of this sentence.
Yes.
Which, like, is a turn on.
I would be almost certain that the animators slipped it in because they slipped a lot of stuff into this episode.
Yeah.
They did. So Lex is like, hold on, I can use the control room so that we can look through the cameras and just, like, check all these different views really quick and see, like, what is up. They flip through a bunch of stations, and then they just find Coldstone, like, in bondage, like, chained to the floor, like, each of his limbs shackled, like, spread eagle,
And he's
he's just, like, struggling.
He's just, like, humping the air. He's like, help me!
Like, help me get off. I can't jack myself off with my arms, but he seems to be saying. And Lex, like, he's not even perturbed at seeing this. Like, he's just happy that, like, oh, like, I figured out where Coldstone is. Like, that Coldstone is in bondage, like, doesn't even bother him.
He
like,
has been exploring every crevice and inch of Coldstone for months.
Well, they
trying
all
to
have.
revive him. And, you know, Lexington makes it like, yeah, I'm trying to, like, help him out, you know? But he's like, I get a man all to myself.
It's like he's so used to seeing, like, his friends tied up by this point.
Oh,
It's
and that's
just like it's like water off a duck's back for Lex.
Yeah.
So Goliath is like, well, let's go down there, free my bro. But Lexington very savvily notes that they're not sure which personality is in control of Coldstone, so they should be careful.
It's such a big brain moment, and I just want to talk about it, acknowledging that Coldstone has multiple personalities, and there's no way for them to know who's in control of. One of them hates his guts. He's, like, so smart. I love you, Lexington.
And it's happened before, too. So, like, Lex is just like, are you this big a dumbass, Goliath? Like, we should check first. He's been reading TV tropes.
Well, Lex throughout the series will consistently be the one to question who's in charge of Coldstone every single time.
Because he's a smart boy. He's not a dumb...
I love
He's
Lexington.
not a himbo like everyone else in his clan. Sometimes he's a himbo.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
He also, like, hangs off Goliath's shoulder during this part and kind of, like, rubs against him.
Yeah.
Like, their physicality is really good in this
These
scene.
two, I don't know.
They also, when they first enter the room, they both do the like,
Oh, I forgot
claws
to mention
out.
that part, yes.
Yes. So they both do the claws out, like, growling, scary pose to scare
Rawr, like
whoever's
big,
inside.
white, glowing
But, like,
eyes.
they're in the exact same pose, and Lex is just, like, below Goliath, so it looks like a mini-me. It's really
It's really cute. looking.
That's so good.
It's so cute.
I love them.
And, like, before that, we also see Goliath, in the only time I can think of in the entire show, use his wing to tap the camera.
Yeah, that was really cool. And I was also surprised he didn't destroy the camera, because that's, like, Goliath's MO usually with
Oh!
technology, but he left the camera there, because he was like, go ahead, Macbeth. Like, look at my ass. I don't care. I know you've seen it before anyway.
Did I talk about the part where he consciously like punches like the controls?
We haven't
I
gotten
think
there
that's
yet.
you can go because I didn't take any notes on that. So you can go ahead.
Okay. I think this is like the very next scene. I'm not sure if
Yeah,
you had
yeah,
anything
I think
else.
it's right here. Right?
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Okay, so like, at first I was like, why would Goliath punch the control room screen out like that? Obviously considering it affects Macbeth's hold over the situation, but Macbeth's not even in that room, so would that really matter? But then it dawned upon me that it's, this is right after Lexington warns him that it might be the personality of Coldstone that hates his guts. And then Goliath immediately just, like, punches a hole directly in the square middle of, like, that little panel in the control room. Mm-hmm. Now, it dawned upon me that that is, like, a meditative form of asserting aggression in a controlled sense to channel your concentration on the task at hand. I mean, you can just listen to how calmly he resumes his sentence after, the fact.
It was almost unnerving, actually, like how calm he was right after it. It's like, oh, like Goliath is.
Yeah, there's so much depth
dangerous right
to
now.
like. I love every character in this show, but like Goliath being the meat, obviously like even like his little interactions, like he's intelligent, he has depth, and he's like hot and beefy, and it's like okay.
Gets tied up a lot.
Yeah,
everything.
I know why you do the things you do. I know what you are.
I know what you are. So meanwhile, we go to Brooklyn and Bronx, who are working their own way through the castle. They come to that one fancy room that we've seen before, where Macbeth has like the big stained glass of him and Demona, which I swear to God, this was destroyed in the fire. I don't, either he rebuilt it exactly the same, or the fire just was in a different part of the castle. I don't know, but it's here again. And Bronx like starts scratching at this one door. So Brooklyn investigates what it is, and then he's just like, "Oh, it's just a closet."
Yeah, you wouldn't know anything about the significance of that, would you, straight boy?
Yeah, well, he does leave the closet in this scene, so good for him. I'm proud of him.
He doesn't even acknowledge it.
But like the second he turns around, Demona comes out through a secret passage and like jumps over Bronx, like wrecks Brooklyn shit like immediately.
Yeah, no, she wants to fuck Brooklyn. Like I think she did.
She
fuck
fucked
him.
his brother, so now she sees.
No.
him.
I think she did like fuck like Brooklyn in a manipulative sort of way,
It's
and like
possible they have
temptation.
sex and temptation.
Like,
it's possible.
like I do think that could have been like a core factor of like.
But even if not, she knows that he wants to fuck her, so she enjoys fucking with him.
But in that sense, she enjoys the idea of fucking him.
Yes.
So I'm just saying.
She's like, I know that you want to fuck me. But
and they did
fucking
end up
you.
together in like the alternate universe. So it's like I'm just saying, like Goliath, Macbeth, Brooklyn, Thalog, like
She has a list of conquests that make
she
any man
can
jealous.
get it. I made a post on Twitter.
I saw it.
I don't need to
was
talk about
dying.
it further then.
And
I
her
was
pussy
dying.
tastes like
Pepsi Cola.
Pepsi Cola.
What?
That's what the song says. That's by Lana Del Rey.
Okay.
That's how it starts.
Follow our Loincloth Hour Twitter, everyone. You'll find the best shit posts this side of Manhattan,
yeah.
of the Mystic Isle of Avalon.
Yeah.
So then there's this extremely sexual shot of Demona like walking right up to the camera with her bare midriff like entering the camera. Like, do you remember that one?
It
shot of
looks like
Goliath?
she's about to kill you with snoo snoo.
Yes, but do you remember that shot of Goliath where he did the same thing? And like it was his chest.
Yeah, I still love
It's that
scene.
same shot.
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
of her abs instead.
And-
Then the shot transitions into Broadway's ass. Like walking away from the camera. So like it was a creative choice that they made for this part.
All of these transitions.
It draws your attention into the wiles of
I just have
Demona's
to point out that
vagina.
every other
And
transition.
then
Every other transition in this episode is meticulously planned out. You can tell.
This one was just as planned. It has to
this is
be.
like
Nothing was up to
such
chance.
an Evangelion moment where they try to like fuck with like the viewer's like perspective on sexuality. It's just like it's so strange because they're trying to like hypnotize you. Like, oh yeah, you see how hot Demona's vagina is? Boom, Broadway butt,
Yep.
waggling in your face,
How
just
does
as
that make you
hot.
feel?
How does
Straight
that
boy?
feel, fuckers? You want to clap that now?
Are you horny? When
I
you're
made
looking
you
at Broadway's
gay,
Ass?
Greg Weisman.
How about that? Greg Weisman made them gay.
You made me gay.
He had a role, I think, in many people's sexualities.
Yeah. I know I've knocked on him a few times, but ironically, like, thank you so much.
Okay,
Greg
when I
Weisman.
found out that he was straight, I was actually...
Yeah.
I remember the conversation I had with you. I was like, wait, he's straight? Like, I could not believe it, in fact. But I'm good for him.
He's a
that
well-intended straight man.
He is well-intended, and he's loose enough with his sexuality that he can include this content without, jeopardizing who he is.
Yeah.
And I think that's something to strive for.
I mean, there's still that bit of, like...
Greg Weisman, please never listen to this. Skip this part, Greg. I know you listen to all of our episodes, but just skip this part.
I think it's a little late to warn him.
So... Yeah, we're talking about Broadway in the library with his
Right,
butt.
Broadway in the library with his butt.
Is this like a clue,
This
like
is clue.
solution?
Yes,
Hey,
Well,
Broadway, he's
it's
smoking him to
actually
death in the
will be.
library with his buttocks.
Because, as we see in this scene, he's about to use his butt as a weapon.
Wait, does he?
Sort of.
Okay, I'm gonna go, and you tell me when it happened, because I don't remember that.
I don't remember either.
Well,
Okay.
Not just his butt, but, you know.
All of his.
What, his-
All of
his
whole
tail?
package.
No, you'll think.
Okay.
So Broadway and Hudson, they enter a library, and it's the same library from Beauty and the Beast. It's fucking huge. It's beautiful. I want it. And they're very impressed by all the books they're seeing. When a laser shot suddenly goes off, like almost hits them, it's Macbeth hanging off of like one of those ladders that like can move, like
Yeah,
move
around the
bookshelves. Yeah,
library.
like one of those like library. And I think it's very cool that we have these specific characters fighting in the library, because Macbeth gave both Hudson and Broadway like their love of reading. So I don't know, it's literary.
I also like how it's like, there's tension between Demona and Brooklyn. They face off. There's tension between Macbeth and Broadway.
Yes, because he previously had the
He
thing
put
with
Broadway in
So like
bondage.
they're putting like the same characters together again. Which I like whenever the show does that, which it does it fairly often.
So what is
Yeah.
Macbeth?
And
Sorry, go ahead.
And Macbeth also taunts them with it, and I know how to read
Say
them.
that.
Yeah, which is like
So
he doesn't know.
what
that
a
they've been
fucking
doing it.
asshole! First of all, like he's acting like he flaunts that he knows how to do
It's
it.
because last interaction they had, he was like, he was proud of them because they wanted to read. Didn't that happen?
So now he's like, and I know how to read them. Like,
So-
or is he
he's
just
trying
like,
to make them
is he
mad,
just
I
like
guess.
stating a fact? Like he wants people to know that he directly knows how to read
I'm a
his
smart
books
boy.
in the
Okay, it's
fucking
like,
library.
He has
he
like
owns.
6,000 books in this library, and he's like, I've personally read all of these because I'm so... Actually, maybe he has because he's like 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
He's an old man.
I mean, my thoughts on Macbeth's personality in this episode is that, frankly, what we
he's
see at
being
the,
controlled.
we know that
You
he's
know.
being controlled. So, like, as they said, they're making him. They have to twist his personality to make him act with
With
Demona.
And,
And I
one,
feel-
one cannot act against their true nature for only so long, or
Yeah.
whatever they say.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
So, like, I kind of excuse anything he says that seems a little off as being part of the he's under mind control bit.
So then there's this very wacky like library chase scene that ensues. Just like he starts sliding on his ladder, and then Broadway like also gets on a ladder and is like sliding after him. And they're going towards this secret bookcase, secret passage thing that opens up. And Hudson's like, "Stop him, lad!" And eventually Broadway does he knocks him off the ladder. Or they both get knocked off the ladder.
So he body slams himself into Macbeth, and then knocks them both off. And he tries to land on top of Macbeth, but misses.
He hits the chair instead.
Yeah.
And Macbeth just hits the ground, and it's
Yeah.
It would have been so funny.
But yes, I feel like he was trying to aim
hit
to
ass.
land his ass
Yeah.
on
ass
Sit
on
on
Macbeth's
his
face.
face, yeah.
On
Take
Macbeth.
this.
Death by ass.
It wouldn't be the first time for Macbeth. Know what I'm saying? But right after that, we switch over to Demona again, and she feels the impact too of Broadway's ass landing on her face, which gives Brooklyn the chance to pounce on her. So they're fighting, they're wrestling. We get that Brooklyn Demona action that we crave.
Like is he trying to fuck her?
He seems sort of like he is trying to fuck her. I know it's violent, but I think just the fact that they're both wearing not very much.
Yeah.
Just sort of gives all of their scenes.
I think during this scene a little bit of blood rushed into Brooklyn's penis.
Yeah, I think a lot more than a little.
Yeah.
I think he was grinding.
Yeah.
But
a little probably rushed into the viewers as well.
Probably. But she throws him off because she's a girl
aroused.
boss. Until Bronx jumps on her and then it's over after that. So,
Well, no, Bronx only gets to jump on her because at the moment of Macbeth's impact in the library, she feels his pain and is loses.
I went over that.
Okay, I missed that somehow.
So it's funny because when that happens and Brooklyn's got her boy, the captions say guard boy.
Yeah, the captions
Oh, did it?
The captions were really bad this episode.
Really?
Most of them were just different ways of saying the same thing. Like it would say can't, and it actually says can never.
Oh, okay, that's silly.
Stuff like that. But
Disney Plus, hire me. I will transcribe this episode for you.
Oh god, you want to work for Disney?
I'll fix it. If it's to make gargoyles more accurate, yes, I would take their money in exchange for bettering their product.
I feel like Disney would be the outlet to not make gargoyles more accurate. You would want to work directly under Greg.
But Disney is the one hosting the show. So I would just...
Oh, yeah.
Not...
If you want to be something boring like a caption transcriber, I mean,
That's what he was suggesting.
That's what I said.
Oh, well, good for you.
You're welcome. Down below.
I see now. I didn't mean to insult your profession.
If you want to be something boring, like a transcriber, a dude transcriber sounds very nice. Even though a lot of the transcription business
right.
has been taken over by AI and computerized
That's exactly what it is.
Sad,
that's why.
They're so bad at it.
And it's bad at it. So we have a worse product. And the people who will do a good job have less money.
They just need to hire someone who oversees everything, or just I don't know. There's a process that they're not properly implementing.
They need to do better, and we need to not be in late stage capitalism, which is worsening all of these technological problems. That we have.
Disney's the worst part of it, pretty much. Mm-hmm. One of the worst. You don't cancel gargoyles.
Don't cancel gargoyles.
I'm sorry, Disney. Don't let the Disney gods try to siege me for saying such a thing.
Down below, Goliath and Lexington have reached Coldstone, who's ooh, I'm tied up. Oh, don't come any closer. It's a trap. But just then, Broadway and Hudson show up, and they're not anymore. And Macbeth is Hudson is carrying Macbeth over his shoulder, with a hand planted
right on his ass.
Right on it, just holding it against his shoulder in that shoulder carry that we adore.
Now, I wish Macbeth were not wearing the trench coat.
I wish that too. I wish we got a good view of his green yoga pants instead, and just had Hudson carrying
his green yoga pants. Hudson's
pants.
Fingering his asshole.
Yep. Just inserting one claw through.
Because we know Macbeth is faking being defeated. So
yeah, apparently he's faking it.
No, he might not.
Which
be.
we only learned at the very end of this.
Yeah. But no.
But Coldstone insists okay, you got Macbeth, but Demona's still out there, and Lexington is your programming is wrong, because there's no way that Macbeth and Demona would ever work together, because they hate each other. And then, half a second later, Demona also lands, right next to Macbeth, does Brooklyn carry her in? And they're what? So they decide to free Coldstone, despite not knowing which personality's in there, because he did warn them about Demona, which he didn't have to do. So they're okay, it's probably a good personality. So Goliath, very manfully, tears the chains apart.
Isn't
very
Lexington
high.
like feeling up Coldstone?
Okay, yes. At the same time, Lexington goes over to Coldstone and is sort of like touching him.
Like, ooh,
And-
my man's like alive now.
Again, they put this expression on Lex that is like he is clearly taking pleasure in what he's looking at, and what he's looking at is Coldstone in bondage.
He's a gay boy.
So he's just like,
That's exactly what he is.
It's that noise, but in a face.
Yeah.
So Coldstone stands up, and he thanks them, and then he goes over to Macbeth and Demona and is like, now time to deal with these two. And Lex is like, well, how are you gonna do that? And Coldstone, like, activates his rocket pack and just sort of, like, hovers over the ground, and they're like, and then Coldstone just says, now. And yeah, I guess Macbeth was faking being knocked unconscious, because he just wakes back up, has a remote control that electrifies the whole floor underneath them. So all the gargoyles moan and writhe for a while. They all get electrocuted.
Especially Brooklyn.
Especially Brooklyn has the biggest boner right now,
He
because
likes
it's his
getting
electrocution
electrocuted.
tank is being served to him. They all fall over. July's the last one to fall. Like, not because he's the toughest one, but because he has to be the most dramatic as he falls over.
Yeah.
And you see, like, all these, like, electrical currents, like, running through his body. He, like, sinks to his knees, and he topples over. It's very horny.
No, it is.
Like, it's super
It's
horny.
one of the. I think it might be your favorite scene.
It's not my favorite, but I liked it
Really?
a
Okay.
lot.
I did want to point out one thing that we didn't. When they're trying to theorize about why Demona and Macbeth would be working together, and Hudson's just like, maybe misery loves company.
Yeah,
I really liked that
yeah.
line.
I like that one too. So meanwhile, in the cyberverse,
Well,
Othello and Desdemona, they just hear a very evil sounding laugh coming out of the portal. It's going,
that was part of my
and that's the
section.
end.
Okay. So, when we get there, my first note is they're still just standing by the portal.
Having the same conversation.
They've just been fucking in front of this wormhole this whole time. Like, okay.
This is their life. They talk, then they fuck, then they talk again, then
I
they
took
fuck
no
again.
notes
And
on
it's
this
always
scene.
the same conversation.
So I
And it's
didn't-
probably the same fucking. They play the same positions. They never mix it up. This is why she's so eager to get out of there.
Yeah.
You know our soulmate is up to no good.
They're soulmates.
Let someone else take up the cause. We have earned our measure of peace. And again, we fade out, like, immediately after 2 lines of dialogue.
Yeah, it was funny.
That's all they deserve.
Soulmate.
So, when we do fade back, it is to Elisa, who is pacing on the clock tower. Because there's no note, no nothing. If they aren't back by sunrise, I don't know what I'm going to do. Gotta get some sleep, but I can't leave without knowing they're safe.
She's so tired. She has like.
It's not
bags
easy
under
being
her
a mother
eyes
for
now.
gargoyles.
Yeah.
I don't know why she's complaining, because she got a full day's sleep from being knocked out.
Oh,
so she should be fine.
Okay,
Now. She's
so
fine.
alright, fine. You're gonna ask. I'm gonna bring this one up. I
What?
skip it. But when I was reading through all of Greg's notes in the episode, one of the things he discussed was like he was like, at the time I assumed that if you were knocked out, it wouldn't count as real sleep. But now looking back, I'm not sure that that was right. I really should have done more research. I don't know.
I'm not a doctor. I don't know either.
I don't fucking know. How does it work?
I'm
You
just
get
saying
knocked
because-
on the head.
because
The best thing you should do after getting knocked on the head is sleep.
Okay, the only reason I thought that was, though, is because she made a joke about it earlier. She was like, well, at least I got all my rest from being knocked out. It's like, I don't know.
Once again, we see a strange silhouette approach. Who is she? And Elisa's guess is Goliath because she sees the big wings approaching, and then it comes closer, and it's Demona.
I want to make a meme of that where it's just the shadow and she's like Goliath, and then the next stage it's just like something completely different. Who's that Pokemon?
Who's that? Who's that?
It's just like a giant floating like Demona head, and she's just like smiling at her. It's a flying head with wings.
like a beholder.
Yeah.
So she lands, and Elisa just puts her hands on her hip and looks at her. Spending the day here, Demona.
God,
the sun's about to come
The
up.
beginning of the lesbian angst.
We're here.
Demona, meanwhile, just looks so damn pleased with herself. Is it really? So she looks towards the rising sun and then poses with her hands on her hips and thrusts herself forward.
She's like, oh, I'm like a swimsuit model, darling. You have no idea.
But you're about to find out.
So now, like, we start the transformation. There's this shot of her eyes bulging that's very Eva, even though this show came out pre-Eva. But, like, if you freeze the frame for a second, you'll see it is a shot of her, like, her eyes bulged out. And,
Like the part where Shinji, like, woke up and Asuka was sitting right next to him and her boobs were right in his face.
Yeah.
And his eyes bulge out there.
Boing.
I know that scene frame by frame.
That was actually not the one I was referring to, but probably.
What scene were you...
The one that they always do, where the eyes are like,
I don't know what you're... what
like-
scene
like-
is that?
oh my god, oh my
it's not
god.
Like the wolf in like Looney Tunes when he sees like the hot girl on the stage and he starts like doing like the wolf howl. He's
Awooga.
like a wooga, boinga. Oh my god,
No,
boobies.
it's the trauma eye shot.
Trauma eye shot.
I'm looking for it. I'm sure it's gonna be here somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Please,
Isn't
please
all
edit
this
this
it?
out.
There it is.
Oh, the
Okay.
perspective.
this
With
one.
the fisheye.
Oh, okay.
There's no fisheye lens, but it reminds me of this shot.
Yeah.
Anyways, back on topic. Her fangs, like we get to see her fangs vanish, and her wings just crumple up like they're made of paper. And it looks really gross.
She's
and
a
painful.
fallen angel.
And her skin's-
We also see what looks like her O face in this. Like, she's, like it seems orgasmic.
yeah.
And she's doing a lot of moaning.
Just like starts orgasming in front of Lisa.
Pretty much
Like
she's
a
like,
whale.
time for me to have kink at pride right in front of you. And Lisa's like, oh my god! I didn't consent to
This
this.
lesbian angst in the show, man. Like I can't. I'm having a good time.
So, Demona finishes up, and Elisa's just like, well, if you're human, then you're subject to human laws. You're under arrest. You have the right to remain silent. Before she can finish the rest of the Miranda rights that animators totally know exist, and we're going to
Definitely.
say.
They know there's more than just that one.
She's just like, if I remain silent, you'll never see your precious Goliath again.
Why is
But
she-
while she's doing this, she's going through like 3 or 4
Just, like,
separate sexy poses.
She's like, oh, aren't I like a pretty human
For the
woman now?
For the record, none of these poses were in the storyboard. They were all added by the animators.
Did they have oversight? Were they told to add these?
No!
What? No!
No, Greg was talking about. Okay.
Oh my
Okay, but
God.
this is the scene. Is her like seducing Elisa?
But
Like-
okay. So here's what Greg had to say about it. The animators got a little carried away here with some of Demona's body language. God knows it's fun to watch, but would you really do all those sex pot poses? Is that in character?
Like it's not, but like it makes you understand. Like this isn't about her. This isn't about what they're talking about. This is like there's something else happening. in
Yeah.
addition. And it's like Demona's psychosexual hang-ups are on full display here.
Yeah. But yes, none of this was in the storyboard.
I support the animator's decision.
Yeah,
I think
I kinda
this
do
was
too.
the way to go.
I think animators
like-
should take more liberties like that.
Greg got it back and looked at it and was like, yeah, okay, this is what we're doing. I'm not going to send it back and have them redo it. This is what we're going
it
forward
looks
with.
great.
Thank you, Greg, for not going back to the drawing board.
But
I
yes,
love
this
this.
was an animator special.
But she's just like she's curving out her back to like show her boobs,
See,
and she's like having her hand, and she's brushing out her hair.
Yes, because she's trying to threaten Elisa
it's-
by being as sexy as possible.
Yeah, it's like I'm not only stronger than you, I'm hotter as well.
You know, I love this because, like, to me, it's not like this isn't like Demona is just really attractive to like any like There's probably a lot of Demona simps out there who like this scene.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, no, I find it more empowering than objectifying, like just because of the whole dynamic at play here in the story.
I'll say I had a lesbian friend in college who loved gargoyles, and this was her favorite episode.
I knew it. Oh yeah, no.
And I know that she made fan art of Demona and Elisa. I think they were her main ship, and
Yeah.
I hope that she's still out there and that she still is drawing to this day.
Lesbians, this episode is for you. Like, this is your episode. This is your
gift to
time
you.
to shine. I love you, lesbians.
So, long story short, Demona is basically tells Elisa she needs to either show up at high noon at Central Park at Bethlehem Castle.
Belvedere Castle.
Whatever.
Which is another place we have to add to our list
Yes.
for our big city adventure
Yes.
we're going to make one of these days.
One day.
So Belvedere Castle to rescue the gargoyles. Or she can choose to not show up, and then Goliath will know that human loyalty is worth bullshit.
Yeah, it's like either she can show up and die, or not show up and betray Goliath. But like either way, Goliath and all the other gargoyles are gonna be killed. Demona basically.
And then Demona's like, well, either way, I win.
Ciao.
Ciao. I was so expecting her to say ciao. I heard ciao in my head as that scene said it.
It's like the motto of their ship.
Yes.
Ciao.
Ciao.
And then she proceeds to just stroll through the police station.
Wearing nothing.
This butt-ass naked woman just walking out of the police station in broad daylight. I mean, I guess it's not the craziest thing to happen in New York City.
Okay, I have to find. We got a Twitter comment. I just have to read it because I thought it was so fucking funny. So yeah, West of Deep Dive Disney says, I know it's New York where weird shit happens all the time, but I refuse to believe that a scantily clad woman dressed like Wilma Flintstone can just casually stroll through a police station and no one raises an eyebrow. I racked up laughing.
Oh my gosh.
So Elisa runs after her and watches as Demona hails a taxi. She starts to run after, but takes like 3 steps before being like, what's the point? I know where she's going.
And she's tired.
She's so tired. She looks exhausted. The Henry's did a fantastic job of making her look exhausted at all times.
Yeah.
And right then, Officer Morgan shows up. Right behind her. Again. We gotta stop meeting like this. And she's just like, I'm sorry, what? Because she's like so out of it. You're looking a big afraid on the edges, girl. You sleeping? Only a few hours in the last 40, which I feel like is not entirely true, but like also not entirely false.
She's been knocked out. She's had a time.
It's been wild.
Well, shift's over. Climb into bed and pull it in after you. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Like, who sits and pull it in after you?
You know what he means, though.
I do. I understood perfectly what he meant, but I've never heard this saying before or since.
He's an interesting guy.
Anyways, the scene's really good, despite how much fun I'm making of it, but I have to make fun of it. So,
No, it's valid.
you know how much I'd like to, and when I woke up, it would be over for me. No more monsters, good or bad, just normal life. He looks a little confused, but not that much, because he's just like, normal life, it would be nice. For a while, but they need me. And he's like, well, isn't that why you put on the badge? Yeah, that's exactly why. Thanks, Morgan, you've been a big help. He's just like, and then watches she walks out. Sure, detective, anytime. Because he has no idea how he helps, but, apparently.
I like that conversation a lot, because in the comics, he is actually, like, where she goes for that dose of normality. When she sort of like decides not to pursue a relationship.
Oh, thank God.
With Goliath.
He's the anti-Matt Booster.
Yeah, like he's not the annoying cop, he's the cruel cop, but he's like the normal person.
Which there was a question we got in the Discord, and we're gonna have some really good answers.
I have some behind the scenes things. I'm waiting until we get to that question. Because there is a massive behind the scenes change that was made to the script of this episode that I've not discussed yet. You're not gonna like it. Well, I mean, you will like the fact that it was made, but you're not going to like what it originally was.
great.
I think I have
Anyways,
an idea.
Was Matt Bluestone originally in it?
of course.
Yeah,
But
I think that's
more to it
that's
than that.
exactly what I got when he said that. Like,
So, anyways, we do another transition, and like all transition in this episode, they are insane. This time, Officer Morgan's face becomes the sun over Central Park. And if you freeze it in the right frame, it looks like an episode of Teletubbies.
No! Oh, no.
that's amazing.
This is what happens when I have to freeze every 5 seconds to write dialogue.
Then when you were describing him being the sun, I was just like, damn, what an inspiring man. Like, it's like a
He's
poster
the
shot.
sun baby.
So,
I'm gonna make a Photoshop edit.
So everyone is now we pan over and you get to see all of the gargoyles and statues in chains. They're all wearing chains around their necks and their wrists. Now
It's a lot.
it's a lot, and they're chained. The necks and the wrists are chained together. Now Hudson and Broadway are chained standing up while they're in stone because everyone is stone. This is high noon. But meanwhile, Goliath, Lex, and Brooklyn, yes, I took notes, are forcibly bent over with their asses sticking out.
They're on their knees.
I wonder what was going
That's
on
true.
before they turned to stone, am I right?
Well, all I'll say is Coldstone's body has been pumped full of cum every night for several months now. I'm just saying, if I were him, I'd want a little bit of payback. And they're stone, they're right there.
I mean, Demona
They're-
also definitely
they're
got into
provided
it.
to you. Macbeth and Demona also got into it.
Like, you think Demona didn't peg Goliath while she had him?
Oh, she did.
Yeah,
She
so
made Brooklyn watch.
there was a really funny response we got to this. Like, Desinbun says, how did they attach the collars around Hudson's beard and under Brooklyn's hair? E91 Tech Ninja responds with, I'm 100% certain it was Demona who found a way.
Life finds a way.
Like, it's,
I don't know what that means. I guess Demona knows
She has her ways.
Demona knows her way around men.
Man.
Around these men.
I would like to point out the obvious that they had to have been chained before they turned to stone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
no, that's
seems-
absolutely what it is. Like that's just the ulterior. Like,
I
yeah.
would love to see the deleted scene of the gargoyles while it was still night, just in bondage and writhing and such, and saying you won't get away with this and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That would have been nice.
No, I mean this is why we're here. I mean, like.
It's something they couldn't get away with putting on television. What was happening there? Anyways, okay, yes. So Coldstone, meanwhile, is just looking up in surprise. I never dreamed I'd see the sun. And this is Iago, of course, still. Why haven't I turned to stone? Because you are no longer a gargoyle. Day or night, you are Coldstone.
Okay,
That's supposed to be my divine voice.
isn't it noon by this point?
Yes.
So why is he just saying this now? It's been hours.
I don't know.
No, because they need to work in that establishing exposition.
Yeah, that's the main reason.
You're good. You're not affected by the curse anymore. You're like a zombie, so you're good.
Well,
Undead.
he's literally made of stone, and his skin color is supposed to be different in the Mindscape from the actual version, because he's
It's
supposed to
not.
be... I know, it's a coloring error. Greg was very annoyed by it.
That would be cool if he was actually stone colored.
Well, no, so he is stone colored, but his actual living color was supposed to be different.
Okay.
But they screwed up a bunch of colors in the dream world, as I will discuss once we get back there.
I gotcha.
Because you probably noticed some of the other color screw-ups that were very noticeable. So, meanwhile, Brendan and Margot, of all people,
Our old
pass by.
friends, our favorite couple.
That's all I put in my notes for
And
that part.
they don't even look the way of all the chained-up statues, Demona, Macbeth, and a cyborg gargoyle standing there and talking. They don't even glance in that direction.
It's almost like they don't perceive them for some reason.
So Coldstone, of course, asks, why does no one see us? And Macbeth is like, it's enough that they don't. Just let it be. So now, Coldstone, like, turns away, and as he's turning, the perspective transitions into Othello inside the mindscape.
Ooh,
Which is yet another insane transition in this episode. They're all so good.
I love them.
Like, some of them are, I don't understand, but they're all so good.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
And meanwhile, Demona's calling him out still. And she's like, is this right? To do nothing is not the gargoyle way. And he's like, we are not gargoyles. We are shadows. And suddenly, there's 3 of her.
Why?
Again.
Each
Why?
with a different hair color.
No, they don't, because of the coloring errors.
I think they did.
Not yet. They won't have...
Oh, really?
So, the first time they show up before, in the... earlier, like, for, like, half a second, they do have the correct hair colors.
Uh-huh.
But then when she's saying, even shadows must be true to their shade, they all have
Oh,
a
yeah.
normal hair color. Which is not right. And,
So it is the 3,
yes.
but is it also, like, what happens to Desdemona? Is she real?
I think they possess her.
I was also
Oh.
confused because it seems like the 2 of them, like Othello and Desdemona, aren't aware that, like, magic stuff is happening.
No.
So they don't react to it.
Nope.
No.
So I was also pretty confused by this
It's
part.
pretty retro, honestly. I like how it's portrayed in this episode, though.
So here it's an even shot. Let's just see. Hold on a second.
This is probably the best.
Okay, well, I
No,
can't-
here you're right. Here the hair colors are correct.
Okay.
Because this one, even shadows must be true to their shade. We get for like half a second, we do get the correct hair colors, and then they cut away again to Elisa, just strolling right past them, and goes to. So Elisa shows up, strolls right past everyone without like even acknowledging them,
She's a
and goes to
boss.
Goliath. But like, it's not because she doesn't know they're there. She's just
No, because it's
outright-
a power move.
It's just a power move.
She's like, fuck y'all. Gonna check on my man.
Demona's just like, you are brave, human, but stupid. And Elisa's just like, I'm unarmed. And Demona just looks so confused.
So like, why would you come unarmed to this?
I'm-
Like, were you not aware of what we were doing?
She's like,
I'm also still rather confused what Elisa's plan was, but we'll get to that.
I think her plan was just to die, like, honestly. Because, like, she only lives because Macbeth is like, no, Demona, you're not allowed to murder her with a bazooka. You have to fight her sexually instead.
so that's just so funny to me because it's like, so like now I know it's like, oh, it's because he's like a puppet, but like before I'm just like, he's trying to weasel this into a cat fight. He's trying to get some entertainment out of this
I
shit.
feel like the weird sisters didn't have to adjust him too
No,
much.
they didn't. No, they didn't. No, that was
he's
very-
into this.
They're like, it's okay. We know you had to put up with this shit. Here. Why don't you
Here.
make these two
a
like,
little reward
like a
for
little,
you.
yeah. There you go,
You've
buddy.
been such a good boy.
You're a
for
good
us.
boy. Go enjoy that.
So, yeah, that was your first mistake and your last. But before Demona can shoot, Macbeth intervenes, and Demona... Because all Macbeth has to say is, surely you're not afraid to face her, hand to hand. And that is all it takes for Demona to be like, I fear no human. Come, detective, Goliath cannot save you now. And throws the gun at the ground as hard as she can.
And Elisa just says, I'm here to save him. Bitch!
Oh my god. Like the most lesbian centric. Like, oh my god. Like they can just like they're after each other.
Yeah.
Like wildcats.
This is the main event
Like
now.
cougars.
So Demona charges her, and she just like puts her sidesteps, puts her hands on Demona's back, and throws her to the ground. You fight like a rookie. Because surprisingly enough, Demona doesn't actually know how to fight as a human.
Yeah, it's obvious here.
She's
Like
not like a super strong
she thinks she can like she just
power creature. at
she's
the
like,
moment.
oh, the hero's getting me again. Like
But like eventually freaking Demona just launches into a flying kick, and that somehow manages to be the thing that Elisa doesn't dodge.
Before that, I just thought this was really funny. But, like, Demona runs at her at one point, and Elisa literally does like this Olay move, like she's a fucking matador.
I love this. So it's like So obviously I don't ship these two together. I just think they would fuck each other.
I hate ship them.
Like I hate ship them. That's the word for it.
Well, you and Greg both apparently.
We also see like all of Demona's ass in this.
Oh yeah, no.
Like,
she's naked.
She's pretty much naked.
Demona Simps, this is for you. Human Demona Simps.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, it all concludes with Elisa and Demona doing the classic Goliath and Wolf hand-to-hand grapple.
Oh my god, it mirrors!
They're wrestling together.
So once the fight pauses, the two of them are like grappling,
rolling around, hair pulling.
Oh my god! And it's like...
Now we move over to Coldstone and Macbeth. And Coldstone, Iago, is just like, well, this is diverting.
Like the straightest thing a gay man has ever said.
Even he's sort of into it.
I mean, it's Demona, so...
He's attracted to gay things. Like, he like said it's like same gender. Like, oh, okay, I could probably do that too.
And Macbeth replies, you don't know the half of it.
And we know what that means because he can feel the cat fight happening.
So, yeah.
And he can feel that Demona is probably aroused by it too.
Okay, at this point I asked in my notes, I was like, okay, if Demona is turned on fighting Elisa, does that mean Macbeth is also turned on by that? And if Macbeth is turned on by watching Elisa and Demona fight, does that mean Demona is turned on by him also? So either way, everyone is definitely turned on.
Yeah.
We can all agree on that.
Yes, 100%.
All the poor gargoyle boys are just all asleep while this is happening.
They're missing
in
it.
chains.
They're in bondage. They're objectified, and they don't even get to see what's happening.
Yeah, this
Men.
is...
They're quite literally objectified.
Yes.
But, so now, of course, we cut back into the mindscape. And this is where the coloring error is, because we're going to have a very long scene with the 3-in-1 talking, only for their hair to all be the same color.
Oh, well.
This is truly paradise, but can bliss outlast the lie you live? You know that only you can stop your evil brother. And then he, of course, responds, you speak the truth. And as soon as he agrees that he has to do something, they merge back into one. But when they merge back into one, they suddenly have black hair.
Yeah, I think I was like, I don't know what's going on. It's a metaphor, is what I thought, but no, I
it's all coloring errors.
Yeah.
Like,
They don't
Greg
know
went on a bit of a
what the
rant
fuck hair she has.
Isn't there like
on how
when
many
they were
coloring
3
errors there were
apart?
during the scene.
When they were 3 apart, did they all have the same hair? Because was one blonde, was one white, and was one just like regular brown?
Yeah, so...
And then when they came back
at least
together,
one shot, yes.
Yes.
But then
when
another
they,
shot,
they came
no.
back together, like it was like as if the black hair was the original hair, not the brown hair.
Not.
But, like, there shouldn't have been brown hair at all, because it was supposed to be black, white, and red. Like,
Oh yeah.
they screwed up the color on multiple levels. It was
Wow.
really-
Yeah. No, I kind of see where Greg's coming from.
Yeah. Also, like, the other place where the color was screwed up was when they were doing the transition from Coldstone to Othello. They didn't change his skin color during that, which should have been the most obvious time that his skin color was changing, because his skin color's similar but notably different.
I've never even noticed it's different.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Well, that's because in the only scenes where it's counterposed, they fail to make the skin color different.
Great
So
job,
it's always
guys.
always the same then. That's why we didn't notice.
But
Yes.
it's only different if they're not on screen together, which only happens like a couple times.
And in that case,
It's
you
like
just
sort of like
lighting.
unstable,
Yeah.
like chemical reaction. Like, okay, they only when they're on screen together we can do this.
Yeah, it's so that's another reason why no one ever figured out that she's actually made of stone and not flesh. Like,
Oh my
He is literally made of stone, and I didn't know this until today when I was doing research.
This is why the character doesn't work, and that we're never really
Yeah.
that interested in him.
He also admitted that he never should have picked up skin color for it.
Coldstone episode.
It is a good episode, but like I don't think it's because Coldstone is in it.
No,
offense
but
to
I
Coldstone
like that.
character.
I don't mind that he's here. I like the fantasy, like, weird, like, subscapes. I like the wormhole visual images. I like the transitions.
I like Midsummer Night's Dream.
I like...
Yeah, we have to get to that one.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, I think Legion is definitely the lowest point for his character, which is his introduction episode.
No, this is like a
so-
complete, like, 180 from, like, okay, yeah, that was a bad episode. No, this is a good episode with those same elements here and there.
So now, all of a sudden, Desdemona's back, I guess, because there's only one of her talking again.
I guess it was her.
It's the most confusing part of the episode.
Yeah. My love, do we take up the cause? And he's like, yes, it is the gargoyle way. So they fly off into the wormhole, and we get the most overdramatic scene where Iago, as Coldstone, is like, no, I am besieged!
The animation's like insane because
Like,
he's
so
making
good.
these poses like
And then
it's
there's electricity
crazy.
crackling everywhere.
Like, it's the most dramatic, like, seizure I've ever seen.
Meanwhile, Macbeth is just watching, like, huh? He has no idea what's going on. Because I don't think Demona's told him that he has 3 separate personalities. Because she never mentions it to
This
him.
is why they don't
When
work
they,
as
when
a
they
team,
put the
because they
floppy
don't
disk
communicate.
in, when they put the floppy disk in his butthole, how did they know that the evil person?
Yeah, how do they know which one came
Is it
through?
because that was the gay one? Like they were awakening it by
It's
putting the
because they
floppy
didn't.
disk in the
It's
butthole?
because the personality didn't punch Demona in the face, so therefore it must not be.
Well, that was a really strong risk they took.
Like, did the weird sisters like influence that part of like I don't know
I think,
like,
well,
how
but
much
they
of this
were-
is actually their plan.
I think it was because like they
Well,
were
they-
so reluctant to like leave. I think that
think-
was the point of it.
I mean, the Weird Sisters were manipulating things in the dreamscape to make sure that
Coldstone, like
only Iago would even want to leave.
yeah. They were making it like, oh, this is your private little sex haven.
Okay, so they're all now in a like astral tunnel together. I can't come up with
I'm
a
very
name.
glad that you're describing this and not me, because I'm just like, I don't fucking know anymore.
No, it's the 3 disassociative like personalities like trying to like argue and relinquish control from the other. And like, okay, yeah, I guess I see that. It's like happening in a cosmic vortex. I'm like, oh, I vibe with this.
They all just sort of like wrestle for a while.
I've had dreams that are just like this.
Meanwhile, Iago still doesn't say anything because Iago's voice actor is not here today. So he only can get lines when he's in control of
His last
Coldstone.
line. Well, this is diverting.
No, because that was spoken
that was
by.
still Michael Dorn
Oh no, I
doing
am
the
besieged.
voice.
Is his last line.
But the point is that was Michael Dornson, who's not Iago's voice actor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Iago's actual voice isn't in
Oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's why he like didn't say anything when they were in the dreamscape earlier. Like he was just kind of like a lurker.
So Michael Dorn is like basically doing double duty.
Yes, he is.
Good for him.
He's such a good actor.
Works for
Oh
it.
my God, I need to watch Picard. 'Cause
I need
know
to
he shows
hear
up
him.
in it.
I need the Desdemona personality to take over again, so like she can be all like like so that Coldstone can let out his inner woman.
Yes.
Yeah, we have Coldstone just flirting with
Goliath.
Goliath, please.
Yes.
That happened. We should write that.
Yeah, like it needs to happen more often. Like they have Coldstone involved. They just do the wrong things with him. I don't hate him. It's just like they need to do like more.
They need to do more. That's,
Like,
that's the same criticism I have with the mutates. It's just we don't see enough of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing.
So, Desdemona just tackles Iago to the ground and is pinning him, and he's like,
She will take any opportunity to feel another man. Have you noticed that?
yes. She's like, I'll hold him while you take control of Coldstone and undo the damage he has done.
She's the dominant.
Go, my love, quickly! So back in reality, Macbeth is just staring at him like, are you alright?
It's so funny.
Because he has no idea what's going on. And Coldstone's just like, just give me a moment to access my memory banks. But the moment he finishes talking, he turns...
I'm gonna fucking kill you now.
He turns around and pot slugs Macbeth.
The way he swindles Macbeth there, it's just so funny. Like, yeah, my memory banks. Like, that's not...
My memory banks tell me that you're a bitch.
That was the first technological thing that came to his mind.
And Macbeth is just like, it seems your allegiance has shifted slightly. Like, yeah, think? Understatement of the year. So he speaks into this microphone on his collar.
Cable style.
Yeah. Airship, priority 1 extraction. And, you know, his 2 goons are obviously on the other end of it.
I wish we could see.
Yeah.
They fly a ship into Central Park.
So Elisa, meanwhile, kicks Demona in the stomach. And then when she ends up on her back, and when when Demona rushes her again, she props up to her feet and flips her over her head and throws Demona with her feet into Broadway's stomach.
Yeah, Broadway's stomach is like the finishing blow
Yes!
to this.
That's funny.
Yeah.
She hits it with like a clong noise.
Macbeth is like, Demona, to me!
I was so glad when he called her because I thought he was leaving her, but no, they leave together. And
It's so funny. She jumps on like the little rope ladder with him, and they go off like freaking whatchamacallit style, like Lupin style.
Yeah.
It was very romantic, I thought.
So, Coldstone is going to rush off after them, but Elisa stops her and is like, wait, I need your help to get the chains off the gargoyles. And then she's like, besides, hasn't there been enough fighting for one day?
I'm tired.
She's so tired. And Coulson blasts the chains free, although he leaves the collars on everyone.
It's a good look for them.
I know.
Yeah.
I hope they kept the collars after this.
They're like little play toys.
But he's just like, I must take my leave of you, my lady.
Milady.
And she's just like, wait, Goliath and the others will want to see you. No, there are forces at war within me. Because he's always going to be over dramatic at all times. Yes. I love him.
No, yeah, he's like, nah, I'm still dealing with this multiple personality bullshit, so I'm gonna go get some help for myself.
Yeah, and until that battle is decided, no living gargoyle is safe from Coldstone.
Oh my god.
So dramatic. He's like Batman.
So much.
Tell my brother I will return someday, if I can. And it flies off. So she goes to start sitting down, and our favorite jogger shows up. The same one from the Awakening.
Yes, your boy.
Who also happens to be the uncle of the kids from Leader of the Pack.
Wait, their uncle?
Yes.
What?
Yes. Yes.
All these recurring...
This was established at a Gargoyle fan con. Greg revealed it to someone.
Fuck?
What the fuck? This one under his hat.
Who fucking cares? What?
Greg is like, you know how J.K. Rowling?
No, I've said this before.
Like wizards make their poop disappear. Like Greg is sort of the same way.
Oh my fucking god!
Except at least his random things are much saner.
Yeah, no, like Greg, sure, you stretch your dough a little. But you don't, pound your dough into the mulch like JK
He hasn't
does.
shit the bed yet. So
no.
I hope he never does.
There's been no wizards shitting and vanishing their magic away yet.
But, yeah. So, some random person asked him, and he's like, oh, his name's something green, and you don't need to give uncle
I want to know
kids.
everything. Okay, someday this character will be in a comic issue, and we're going to need.
I'm not going to see this fucking character on the poster of a gargoyle.
We might. There's going to be a spin-off. It's going to be in the future, in the past, whenever.
But yeah, apparently he has thought about this character and gave him a small backstory and everything. That he's like, it will probably never be relevant, but I did think about who he is.
He's into fitness, we know that much.
Yep. So anyways, he shows up and she's like, hey, where'd those statues come from? Again. He's asking her, and Lisa's just like, don't ask me, I'm just taking a nap. And she's goes to sleep. Yep. So we cut back to Demona and Macbeth, who, of course, Demona is at Macbeth's throat again. Because I did it your way, Elisa and the gargoyles lived. And he's like, destroying them was never our primary objective. Now, if you were paying close attention, there is like a split second where you can see on the desk their primary objective. But I'm guessing most people would not catch this on a first watch through.
No.
But while he's speaking, in one of the rare cases I've seen in animation, she just speaks over him, and she's like, and we lost Coldstone.
Yeah, I thought that was so interesting. It's just that, like, we never hear anything like that. And it sounded awkward, but, like, intentionally awkward.
Yeah, like, the two were... I thought it was really well done. And then she just pauses when she realizes what she spoke over. She's like, what primary objective? These magical talismans. And he gestures to the Phoenix Gate, the Eye of Odin, and the Grimoire Marcanorum.
Uh-huh.
If we'd stolen them alone, Goliath wouldn't have rested until he'd gotten them back. This way, it'll be weeks before he even notices they're gone. She's like, yes, I used a spell from the Grimoire. Shield us from prying eyes at the clock tower in the park.
So there's our explanation.
Oh, it's so
But, like,
that.
the acting is actually really good here, because that could have been very ham-fisted, but instead, like, every word sounds like she's trying to figure out for herself what the heck she's doing.
Yeah, it gets
she was
very, like...
wait, why
It gets
did I do
very,
that?
like, self-aware. Like, wait a minute. What the fuck's going on? Are we in a TV show right now?
Is someone filming us?
And then she's like, but why did we steal these things? How did we even know where to find them? And then, for that matter, and then...
Why are we
working
working
together? So, now, here's where things get weird, because Demona's still a human, but she starts growling and has her red eyes. Now, human Demona can growl, but she definitely does not have red eyes.
This time she does.
And Macbeth grabs the nearest chair to try and slam at her.
Because he knows. He's like, okay.
There's gonna be another domestic dispute between these two.
They're gonna call the cops.
So, all of a sudden they freeze, and the weird sisters show up in the back.
They're like, damn.
Seems
Thank God.
We've arrived just in time, my sisters. The spell we placed on these two is about to wear off. You can only compel someone to act against their nature for so long. Was it wise to release Coldstone? Perhaps we could have found a way to place a spell on him as well. We do not need Coldstone. These will do quite nicely in the coming battle. And they each pick up one of the 3 items on the desk and just disappear in this crazy whirlwind.
They don't give a fuck about it.
And then the
Doesn't
camera
matter.
just pans out to the castle and stares at it for like a good 2-3 seconds, and then it ends.
And I guess that's the end. The show
Oh
seemed
my
to
God.
say, like, we don't know how to end this, but it's over now.
It was weird.
So I like how they were just bringing up Coldstone because they did have to manipulate him too in order to get what they wanted. But like, they were also kind of like, you know, he seems kind of like one of those Shakespearean characters that we keep fixating on. Maybe we could like have done something with him too. And then like of course the other sister's just like, nah, it's not worth our time. We got what we needed.
We like the gay one, but the other two,
The other two. You mean the gender fluid one?
So, according to Greg, this was the start of Tier 3 of the show.
Ooh.
Because Tier 1 was what the story content he played for Season 1. Tier 2 was 1 through 8 of the second season. City of Stone was a bit weird, and he doesn't know where it fits. Because originally it was supposed to be a movie.
Okay. See, if anything, I would say that, like, City of Stone starts Tier 3.
Well, yeah, he said it could start Tier 3, or you could count it as part of Tier 1, because it was originally supposed to be a separate, its own thing.
Right.
And then this would have been the premiere for Tier 3 of stories, which would have been Season 3 if they'd had their original 13-episode count. So, like, we would have gotten more stories in Season 2 if it had been 13, 13, 13.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I just think, there's a lot of episodes, and, you know, there's
Yeah.
different phases.
Yeah, I mean,
Every show has
we
them.
can probably gather what the other 2 phases are.
One of them's the World Tour.
Yeah, and then the other one is everything after the World Tour.
Yeah.
I
Can't wait.
I can feel the gay ray of light shining down upon me right now.
Yeah, it's okay. Viewers, I have prisms all over my house, and it catches the light from the windows, and one of the rainbow patches is right on Sid's face.
I can feel it, and I can also see it in the corner of my eyes. It's like really bright, but it's like, you know, it's like, oh, it's just the gay gods blessing me. That's all it is. But anyways, yeah, so that was High Noon. What would we rate this episode out of 5 loincloths?
Oh, so I never did discuss what the one thing that really bothers me about this episode.
Okay, well, we can factor into your rating then.
Well, I'm just going to say, the one thing that bothered me about the episode was I had no idea why the heck Elisa didn't, try literally any sort of preparation before showing up at the bar.
She just showed up after her talk with Morgan and was like, okay, I know what to do. It's to die, I guess. I don't know what her plan was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It worked out. I mean,
I would have expected her to prep something. I don't know.
Show up with, a whole squad. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean...
that is a question. I've never thought of that. So.
Yeah, no, I didn't think of that either, damn.
That's my big issue with this episode, though. Personally.
My only issue, and I've mentioned it already, is that it's not placed correctly, in my opinion. There should be, a buffer of at least, 2 episodes in between this and City of Stone.
Yeah. Well, I mean... It does help to know that this was originally intended as a season premiere, and that City of Stone was going to be a movie. And
in a lot of ways, this episode did feel like the start of a season. It felt like an onboarding point for new viewers, because they sort of go over the Gargoyle's whole deal again, and they make sure we get to see each Gargoyle take off, and we get to linger over their character designs, and they sort of explain the plot a lot in this episode. And we go over pretty much most of the major recurring plot points at some point during this episode. Yeah, so I do feel like this would have made a very good opening for season 3. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting too.
I liked it. I mean, it had its issues, but I mean, start to finish, it was entertaining. That don't get me wrong. I found every single few seconds where I paused, I could take a paragraph of notes on what I was seeing.
There's a lot going on.
There was. I mean, of course, you guys acknowledged, the episode has its issues, but I still mostly enjoyed it.
Yeah, me pointing out it's just I personally gave this episode a rating of 4.8. So, I didn't hold its placement against it. I thought it was fucking awesome. I love this episode. Pretty much throughout.
I just give it a straight 5. I mean, nice. I like it. It's like I said, it's the best episode with Coldstone in it that I liked. I like seeing, the data, world and everything. I thought, those were some of the stronger elements in Legion, and they weren't, explored as much as I wanted them to be, and we kind of got to see it every now and then within this episode. We also got to see sexy Iago take the front for a little bit.
Yeah.
And even though I never really found him attractive before, I find him attractive now that he's one of the he's the evil personality of Coldstone. I'm such a nasty boy.
It's kind of hot when a quote weaker man is in control of a beefcake is what I
maybe
about
yeah
that situation.
But yeah, no. I gave mine. You gave yours. What was yours?
Mine would be a 4.5 on 2 counts. First of all, the one I just mentioned with the issues with Elisa's motive, but more pertinently, the don't do enough with the Othello and Desdemona scenes.
Yeah,
it felt like we're watching the same thing over and over.
Yeah, that is true.
Which maybe that's the point, is that's sort of how their world has been inside the computer.
True.
It's just an endless sort of they're sort of in a spin cycle. But it's not very fun as a viewer to watch.
No. But yeah, no, I think like I said, it's a ride start to finish. I like how they try to kind of wean in the Western standoff at the end of the episode, and in the end it didn't even matter because they were just being puppeteered the whole time. So I'm okay, that's kind of funny. That makes this a fun little adventure. Lisa pulled her weight. She became mommy again.
She was a badass.
She's always a badass. Elisa is one of the best female protagonists of all time.
I love any time she does kick some butt.
Yes, indeed.
I did have one more thing about this episode in terms of random notes from Greg that I thought might be worth sharing. So the original plan for this episode was his goal was to have a classic Batman-style episode where the villains team up. Nice. And it's supposed to be a giant threat because you've got like 3 of the most powerful villains are now working together. How can you? And he's like, and then he was like, he didn't think it worked in the end because all
they wouldn't work together.
Well, because all of the characters' motivations were more interesting than the raw power that they posed as a threat.
Yeah.
Of a threat they posed, and like everything drove into there, and thus people didn't actually focus on the fact that it was a villain team-up episode. Like people don't consider it a villain team-up episode,
like watching,
which was his original goal.
I don't feel like that's what it is.
Like. So,
they tried to put like an
That's
Avengers
cool.
get together, but instead it's like more psychological, and I'm just like, okay, I prefer this.
He's like, yeah. So I failed at my original goal, but he still likes the episode. So.
Like, if anything, it's more like a mystery episode because you're wondering why Demona and Macbeth are working together.
Yeah.
And, like, what the deal is.
Yeah.
I'm glad it turned out that way, like for reasons. But yeah, so that that was so I guess our next segment would have to be the horniest moment, which mine was like. There's quite a few things to choose from.
That's the hallmark of a good episode.
I was gonna
There's
say,
a lot.
Throw a dart at the board, and you will almost certainly hit a random horny moment in this episode. Like,
Pretty much.
Okay, so I'll say probably the one that sticks in the most people's minds is going to be Demona posing sexually for no reason
Oh yeah.
to Elisa, and then the two of them wrestling around.
Oh yeah, without a
That's
doubt.
probably the biggest, but there's so many more in this app.
There's another one that will always get mentioned, and that is all of the gargoyles in stone but chained up.
Yeah.
That one I hear get mentioned a lot.
I totally forgot that happened. So when I came to that part, I was surprised. I was like, whoa.
I kind of wish they weren't like
Okay.
stone, but like it works.
Yeah.
It certainly does.
Like I definitely think that people seem to like that a lot, and I also like it quite a bit.
I think what does it is like they're already stone, so like there's no need to have the chains on them. It's just to objectify them more and like make Demona feel even more powerful that she has them in her clutches.
Yeah, I think that is it.
And also the way the bondage looks, like it looks really kinky.
Yeah.
Like there's the collars and like the wrist manacles are like connected to the collars by like other chains, and it's like it didn't need to look like this,
No.
but this is how she chose to do it.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot.
No, it's good.
I like Coldstone writhing in bondage. As well,
so now you're attracted to Coldstone.
for when he's in bondage.
So I would like to point out the other kinky thing about the way the statues are is that it's very clear there were additional restraints on them when they were turned to stone.
Right.
From the poses there. There's no way those poses were just naturally what they took. So
Maybe
there
he
was
just
even more bondage, and
he
you can
just
just imagine what it
naturally
is.
stuck his ass out and was crawling on all fours, and one of them was like rimming the other against his will, and that's just how they turned to stone.
Oh damn, human centipede style, huh?
Yeah, there was a human centipede.
Like,
So it was Goliath, Lex, and Brooklyn. And they're the ones who were on all fours. And then, I don't know, Broadway and Hudson were like 69 each other against their will.
like,
That's how it happened.
but yeah, I think that's what part of
Like
what makes
it.
it so horny. Is you can imagine any sort of bondage situation that these guys were in, because they were clearly in more bondage.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were
You
in
don't know
it
what
for
it
like
is.
most of the night.
Yeah.
Too.
So obviously we have a winner.
What's the winner?
What have we been talking about for like the?
Okay, well for us, yeah, we like the bondage.
Yeah.
It's not just us. There's a lot of people like the bondage.
The lesbians and the straight men, they're gonna love.
I'm not
Elisa
counting
the most.
like I'm just saying like unanimously. I think that's the kinkiest thing. Am I wrong?
Maybe you might be right.
I mean, I feel like that whole scene where Lex was finding the footage of Coldstone and Bondage was
That
also...
was awesome.
Yeah,
Kinky.
I mean, obviously, I was gonna go over the runner-ups, but I just wanted to establish like that to me. I don't know, that's a big one, but yeah, Lex seeing Coldstone in bondage. Lex Playing with Coldstone's butthole at the beginning of the episode.
Fantastic moments.
What else? Hudson was really cute in every scene he was in. I liked the scene where he was carrying Macbeth.
Oh yeah.
It was so little and not enough was shown, but like I liked just the presentation, and I'm just like, yeah, that's up there for me. That might win, but then like everything else happened, and I'm like, okay. And of course the electrocution.
Yeah.
Where
Goliath sinking to his knees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Slowly.
Mm-hmm. Defeated. Demasculated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Submitting to the pain.
Indeed. There's just so much. There's a lot of horny moments.
There's also the moment at the beginning that we didn't mention where Iago's flying overhead and you can almost sort of see his butt as he flies through the portal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But he's got a tiny ass, so you can't
He was
really
like
see it.
shaking his ass at like Othello does Demona,
But,
like, kiss my ass, I'm out of here.
But like, it's from the angle where if he had any thicker of an ass, you would have seen it. But he's, a tiny boy.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, I think that's all I had to say. I mean, that's
who's the gayest character?
Okay, so it's a toss-up between either Lexington for thirsting after Goliath or Demona for thirsting after Elisa. And I kind of want to go with Demona because, like, while Lexington was, like, groping Goliath a lot and, like, cuddling with him.
And Coldstone. Don't forget.
Coldstone.
Oh, yeah, and Coldstone, that too. So Lexington
He was a thirsty boy this
Lexington
episode.
is up there, but, like, I think Demona is also up there, so I can't really decide.
I do have both of them on my list. I think Demona's gonna win out.
Yeah.
Because she hasn't really been gay up until now, but something about
Elisa brings it out in her.
Urge to.
She's like, oh, you make me feel
pussy.
so different compared to every other woman I've ever met.
Yeah, she's nega intimate with her.
What does that mean? What is nega?
Okay. It's the same. It is the same shit with Wolf and Goliath. Because Wolf does not ever say he loves Goliath. Wolf says he hates Goliath. He hates Goliath so much that he wants to be around Goliath all the time. That he wants to fuck him. That he wants to dominate him. That he wants to, destroy him.
So is that our word now? He neja.
This is the word that repressed homosexuals use to express their love for another person. They say they hate him or her.
They're neja into them.
So yeah,
They're gonna invent a whole new lexicon.
What Goliath is to Wolf, Elisa is to Demona.
I agree.
Yeah.
They should all go out on a double date sometime.
Oh my god, it's gonna be the most oh Jesus, there's gonna be ass all over the place, man.
Everywhere.
There's gonna be like body fluid, there's gonna be pee.
But like Wolf and Demona would theoretically be dating each other on this double date?
Yes.
Yeah! Like, they would claim that they're together for this to work.
It's not as if I like her. I'm with both. Yeah, me too.
I'm totally straight. I'm standing next
Really?
to
They're both,
I plowed her pussy
bushes,
so
like,
good the other
spying on
night.
Goliath.
Isn't it great being straight and liking pussy?
I love it. I love licking it up.
Jesus.
Like a wolf, which I am.
I love feeling the the soft. Yeah, I'm straight. Anyways, that's my take on that matter.
Luckily, her vagina is so tight that I can't put my dick in it anyway, so I don't have to.
Wolf, I think Wolf is grossed out by vaginas. He's one of those.
He probably is.
But he'll never admit it. I'm gonna cut this.
So that's the end of that segment.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe we have at least one email.
Okay, so we got an email from, wow, Remy, I love you. This is great.
I'm so glad that before he sent this, I was worried, but now I'm relieved that we have another good one.
Okay, so Remy reads, "Hello again, Loincloth, our crew. It feels rather fulfilling to have gotten through the City of Stone arc, and it was very fun to hear you guys throughout it all. And you guys got extra sound now, too. I liked the sound effects, though not a fan of the background music personally. Made it a bit difficult to properly hear you guys sometimes. Sorry. Anyway,
I didn't have that problem when I listened. We're gonna workshop it.
Anyway, fantastic episodes, even with the plot holes and not just the modern day New York stuff. Like, how did Canmore know that Macbeth and Gruach would go through that specific area after escaping the castle? And why did Macbeth not don a mask to disguise himself, as the hunter himself would do, and help Gruach fight and kill Canmore, and then disappear after making sure his family was safe? I don't know, man. It gets me thinking.
Like a masked superhero. That would be cool.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that.
And of course, since you guys mentioned all the sex stuff this past episode, I want to bring it up too. The ones fucking like rabbits are the Avalon pair, after the male of the duo is of proper age to do so, so thanks to his travels outside Avalon. Wait, is this...
I'm not sure what he's talking. It's the Avalon pair.
The Avalon pair, after the male of the duo is of proper age so to do so thanks to his travels outside Avalon. I don't know what that means.
Is he talking about the wizard Magus and Princess Catherine?
Did they fuck?
I don't know. How I know.
Magus wanted to fuck Catherine.
Yeah, there's a love triangle to she and
God.
Tom got together, but the Magus was in love with the princess.
Oh, that's stupid.
But he was he was older than they were.
Macbeth and Demona never actually had sex. Yeah, sure, whatever. At least not till the France episode, but we'll get to that eventually. Weissman did confirm that Demona spent almost all of her over 1,000 years of existence without having sex?
I don't believe that.
No, come
Greg
on!
is
Greg!
incorrect.
Greg, no. You think a woman can just shut off her sexuality, Greg? Oh.
Demona fucks.
No,
That's a fact.
come on. Like, I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could withhold sex for 1,000 years. Maybe she did it out of angst, but no, like, I don't know. I don't believe that. Which did not okay, so he continues. Which did not help at all in terms of her sanity or lack thereof. And when she finally got the chance to have sex again, as I said in the France episode, she ran with it and then some. So she didn't have sex for 1,000 years until she vacationed in France.
With Macbeth.
With
Macbeth.
And then she went buck wild
it was like
on
the
him.
floodgates opened.
I don't know. Like, this ruins so many headcanons.
Well, I'm disregarding it.
Here's the thing. Anything Greg has said before, anything he says that isn't in an actual episode or issue is potential canon that he's free to contradict whenever he wants.
Yeah.
Like the Star Wars extended universe.
I don't... Like, I get wanting to create a super spacious, like, world of creativity and magic, but, like, you don't have to explain every single nook and cranny of, like, everything the characters... Like, Demona not having sex for 1,000 years. Like, I was looking up stuff, like, regarding Mass Effect yesterday. Some things that the devs have answered for. One of them being, like, what do Turian penises look like?
Oh, no.
The devs said... Oh, we just think their penises look like duck penises.
Sure.
What?
What's a duck penis like?
It's like a corkscrew shape.
I can see that.
Okay.
It's just... I don't like it.
Well, I mean, I've seen different penises from the
My point being, I don't think you should... I don't think that needed to be just, like, offhandedly, like, answered like that. I feel like that's something that could be explored by someone who is actually invested in exploring, like, that kind of area of the world, what these sex organs look like. Someone more familiar with biology or science. I don't think a dev offhandedly answering they probably look like duck penises should be taken verbatim as what the fandom goes off of.
Even them just saying probably like that, it shows they haven't really thought about it, so, like, their answer could change if and when they ever do that, which they probably won't, because it's a question about alien penises.
I would like to point out his counter-argument. anything that's said offhandedly by devs or creators or anything, like, they're people. They have, like, random thoughts, and sometimes they like to express them.
They can change their minds.
Just because they said it does not mean that the fandom has to take it verbatim. It's just a thought.
I know. It's just like, it's funny how it, like, because I have a lot of things that could be said right now, but we're good.
I don't have it, so.
There's also the fact that gargoyles in general tend to get grabby when they achieve orgasm. So any human having sex with a gargoyle risks getting grabbed and, well, torn to shreds, while the gargoyle is having a big
Okay, like, why...
What about the gargoyle
this is being brought to me like it's a
and it's
fact.
taking it from behind?
Like, I just don't think that's the case. I don't believe in any of this.
This is still from Greg's After Dark panel that he did that one time.
Is that really what it's from?
Yeah, that's where all this stuff is from. And I would like to point out, at the beginning of it, he said, please don't take any of this too seriously. Like, that's literally how he started.
Just having fun.
That this panel was just for fun. And now people are taking it seriously because that's how fandoms work.
We are a very serious podcast about gargoyle sex, for better or for worse.
So just like...
Listen, I have my thoughts, I have my opinions, and I just think some people are wrong.
Yes.
You're wrong. Jonathan Frakes.
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
A writer made it up. And then comes High Noon, which is such a peculiar episode. I liked the fact that it made one wonder why Macbeth and Demona were working together, and how at the end they explained that, and even apparent plot holes, like how nobody saw a freaking hovercraft above the police station in broad daylight. As a standalone episode, it was okay, but as episode setting up what's to come, it was damn good. I also enjoyed the focus on Elisa, and the toll that the long nights have on her, this being the most exhausted you've ever seen her, and how at one point she almost seemed ready to give up. It made one sympathize with her more, and then admire that she keeps on going strong. I agree with all of that. Ooh. I also liked random bits, like Hudson and Broadway practicing their reading, even though it still irks me to this day that the woman in the news article has her name wrong. Typical make it sound Spanish without actually knowing Spanish things so many cartoons and comics tend to do. I did not pick up on that, but shame on them. And how despite being a very deadly warrior due to her centuries of experience, on top of being a gargoyle to boot, how Demona struggled in fighting against Elisa, since only one of them has had proper self-defense training. So I like that bit of realism. Another thing I remember is Weissman has said that he had absolutely no idea why the animators made Demona strike a sexy pose after transforming to her human form in front of Elisa, but honestly, this is another one of those barely logical explanations. Simply put, Demona's flaunting what she's got as a way of saying to Elisa, yes, even as a filthy human, I'm still better than you in every way.
Exactly what we said.
I fully agree and endorse that message. And rather than talk about Coldstone, because meh, I'll just get the timeline out of the way, since I did forget about it last time. Macbeth and Demona first met when Gilcomdane killed Macbeth's dad in the year 1020. Then they became magically bonded by the Weird Sisters in 1040, and Demona betrays Macbeth to Canmore in August 15th of 1057. So Macbeth saying they had been allies for 37 years was accurate. As for the modern day bits, City of Stone begins on November 9th of 1995 with the terrorists and the broadcast, and it ends on November 12th when the spell is broken. And then High Noon happens right quick afterwards, starting on November 13th and ending on the 14th. Tony Dracon's also released on bail in the 13th, though I can't wait to get back to our friend Tony Dracon. That should about do it for now. Time to close up another of my long-winded emails, but next one may likely be short, because, yeah, not a fan of the next episode. Thanks for all your hard work, as always, and take care.
Thank you, Remy, for the email. We love you.
Fantastic.
Hello.
I am not a fan of the next episode either.
I don't know what the next episode even is.
It's the one with Halcyon Renard.
Oh no!
Okay, I like that Goliath's gonna be in bondage for quite a bit of it, but from what I recall, that's pretty much the only thing that I liked about it. So
no. There's one other good scene in it, and that is
with Fox.
Yes, Fox confronting her father.
Yeah.
That's such a good scene.
So tune in next time, everyone, since we just sold you on how much fun the next episode will be.
I wish I could love that the next episode, because I love Fox, and I feel like I enjoy Halcyon as a character, but he's in no good episodes, and it's a weird thing.
He is only in bad episodes, sort of like Matt Bluestone. Heyo.
Speaking of which, we have a few If we were, I'm sorry, do you have something else you want to say?
No, I wanted to discuss this post, so...
Yeah, so there's a few things that was put into the podcast mailbox chat room.
On our Discord, which if you're not a member of, you should join, because you get to take part.
As far as High Noon goes, okay, so Storyteller Wes.
I got this one.
Thank you.
As far as High Noon goes, there's a moment where Elisa is beating the shit out of Demona, and Macbeth isn't even flinching. I think he's feeling the pain, but secretly enjoying it.
I mean, probably.
Yes, we agree.
Yeah. Do you think there's a way to salvage Bluestone without completely changing who he is as a character?
Alright, I have an answer for this.
So I would like to start by discussing the fact that this episode was supposed to heavily feature Bluestone.
What would he have done in it?
We don't know, because Greg was very mysterious, but he's like, according to him, he and the writers had written some of his favorite Bluestone Elisa dialogue, but he had to cut it all because it was just too many characters, and Bluestone's storyline in this didn't thematically match up with the rest of them.
That's too bad, even though I don't like Bluestone.
Why?
But
Why are you disappointed?
Maybe I would have liked him if I'd gotten to see some of these scenes. Or he got to be, I don't know, funny or charming in any way.
I'm assuming, based on what he was saying, that the scene with Morgan was originally going to be a Bluestone scene and had something to do with whatever his plot line was.
Oh, thank God they changed it to Morgan. Thank fucking God.
He delivered it perfectly.
I don't need Bluestone mansplaining to Elisa in every fucking scene. In every scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't come across as genuine because he is newer to the Force than she is. But it sounded better coming from Morgan because I always saw them and Elisa as being peers.
Yeah.
You know?
Anyways, to answer your question, crossover line, I don't think there's any way to change him. I think he was made to be a funny mansplaining sidekick to Elisa's badassery. And it's just, it's not funny. It's just kind of, annoying.
Alright. I will give a more in-depth answer then. So, if you wanted to salvage Bluestone, let's see, how would we go about this? So, first of all, he's got his Illuminati kick, right? Mm-hmm. But at this point, the Illuminati's an actual thing in the story. So, So,
it's harder to play that for laughs.
Right.
They're
so that's no longer a laughs thing, because he's actually joined the Illuminati. And so what we need here is for him to have a villain arc.
No,
hear me out. So he's now joined the Illuminati. And even in the episode where he finds out about the gargoyles, he's already kind of pushing it with what he's doing. So what needs to happen for him to change in a way that makes him an interesting character is he needs to push those boundaries too far and really screw up and get everyone upset at him and have to fix things.
Like how? Reveal the gargoyles to the public or something like that?
I mean, they are known to the public, but he would need to. I don't know how he would portray them, but he definitely would. Do something to get in with the Illuminati to try and take them down from the inside, but
so sell them
out to the Illuminati.
Yeah,
somehow.
put a gargoyle in sexual bondage and deliver them to the Illuminati.
Anyways, I feel like that would have to be the start of it, because at that point you get the other characters angry enough at him that everyone starts calling him out on all his faults, and he's forced to confront why he's not a person people like to be around.
I would love if he did some actual soul searching and tried to improve himself. That would give him an arc.
Exactly.
He doesn't really have
he doesn't really have that.
So that's my answer on how I would like at least try to start a Bluestone redemption. I'm not sure I can pull it off, but I think the right writer might be able to pull it off.
I would kill Matt Bluestone off and redeem him after death. Like, you find out that he did all these
like they
things.
did with the Magus?
Like, did they do that with the Magus?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
It didn't
then
work.
I would do
It
the
didn't
same
work.
thing. But in this case, I don't know if it would work, but at least he'd be dead, and he wouldn't be bothering us anymore. But, like, they'd follow up on, like, things that he'd been working on, like, while he was alive, and they'd be like, oh, wow, Matt never told us about this. There was a lot he was keeping secret, it turns out. I wonder why he didn't trust us. Maybe because we were always so mean to him, because he was such a whiny little cunt. And they'd be like, yeah, oh well, and they'd go about their day. But they'd,
What
they'd
the
be
fuck?
solving problems.
That's like the cruelest thing. Holy shit.
That was just an example. One of many.
I'm glad I'm here to actually offer him something.
I like how storyteller Wes was responding with, I don't know why everyone is so mean to Bluestone. I love the guy. And I
Everyone has something.
And then
I- So yeah, no. I feel like with Bluestone, what it is and why we don't like him. Well, not only is he like a pretty much useless component to the show. Like, I don't think he matters in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, sure. Like, they give him stuff to do. Like when they have like to do a centered episode about him once in like every year. But I just it's like if you've ever just like been if you ever worked as hard as Elisa, and you're assigned this partner who's constantly not really negging you, but just like playing the role of like, I'm here to like help you get things done. When you are making shit work in like a fucking trend, like you're doing all this shit, and you just have someone who's constantly like, yeah, I'm here to help, and he doesn't do anything, and constantly mansplains things to you. If you've ever had like that kind of like friend before, where it's like they're not really a bad person, they just aggravate you in every way. I think that's what it is. I think it's projection, like for someone like myself. I mean, I started this trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, this podcast.
I'm pretty sure I'm the only person who's still giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Like, I originally was going to be on your side and be like, yeah, I give him the benefit of the doubt, but it's like, nope, I can't, there's nothing there.
I mean, one of my best online friends, like, Matt Bluestone is their favorite character. So, like, I know that some people do really like Matt. I've never been one of them.
Yeah, no, I just, I don't really care. But I think that's it. I think we've answered everything.
Yeah. I mean, I think Matt suffers from the same issues a lot of characters in that his story moves way too slowly. Which is even more of an issue for him than Coldstone or the Mutates, because his story, he's like Elisa's partner. He should be moving faster. You don't need a lot of excuse for him
more frequently.
Yeah.
You know?
And like when I not just see him, but see him actually doing things that are relevant.
Like if he was a character who was like a more active person, like changing the story, then he'd be more interested.
Oh,
but usually he doesn't.
One of the things that Greg did reveal was originally Matt was supposed to start figuring out about the gargoyles during this episode.
Interesting.
But they couldn't figure out any way to have him like only get part of the story and not immediately just dig until he got the truth.
Because he would do that.
Yeah, that's what they realized. That's why they ended up delaying it.
Very interesting.
But yeah, like that was supposed to be part of his arc that just got cut.
All
right. Well, I think we've been recording nearly 3 hours now.
My throat hurts.
Oh.
My head hurts.
I think that means it's time to wrap it up.
Please.
So, thank you everyone for listening. You can find me on the internet. I'm Manicorn on Patreon. I'm Spankicorn on Twitter. I'm Croup on FA.
Yeah, Sid Scripts on Twitter. And yeah, check out our YouTube channel, check out our Twitter, and yeah.
I'm Penguin_Huron on Twitter and 13333 on FA.
Alrighty.
And,
Good night, man.
have a good night, everyone.
So